male and 4 female, and also one of their mothers. I mean, 9 children and one of their mother have been killed in this airstrike.
Absolutely, there are fatalities and women and children included. In Pakistan, we've seen the tensions that have been going on between the two, Afghanistan and Pakistan. But this is a revival of those hostilities, isn't it? But what is the Taliban planning now?
Yeah, as you know, a few days before, also Pakistan Army have break down the ceasefire rules, and they have attack in during line next to Afghanistan. But in this time, unfortunately, we lost our civilians, more than 10 civilians in Afghanistan. Not officially confirmed yet, that not officially said anything about it, but as I guess and as we guess in Afghanistan, that before a time the Taliban official was said that if this time the Pak army have targeted our civilians, we will react heavily. But up to now, there is no any officially statement that Taliban said that they will react, but they condemned this action, and they said that this is against all rules and things that we said with Pakistan on ceasefire. But the Afghan civilians, some of the people that I speak with them off the record, they said this is because of why that Afghanistan trade minister and some team of Afghanistan is now in India to have good economic relation with India. Because of this is the second time that the Pakistan have targeted civilians.
Absolutely. Well, Hashbat Sanizai reporting from Kabul. Thank you so much for joining us with those details coming in on that story. We're closely tracking the developments from what's been happening, and now we shift our focus to the stories from the world of defense. Now, India has released a new tactical video of AK-203 rifle, officially renamed Sher, marking a major step in the country's small arms modernization program. The AK-203 is replacing the INSAS rifle and is now being produced at the Indo-Russian Rifles Private Limited facility in Amethi of Uttar Pradesh. Under a 5,100 crore rupee contract signed in 2021, India will manufacture over 6 lakh rifles domestically, with full indigenization targeted for the next month. Here's a full report.
The AK-203 is being manufactured in Amethi, Uttar Pradesh, under a joint venture between India and Russia called Indo-Russian Rifles Private Limited, or IRRPL. The rifle fires 7.62 by 39 mm rounds, has a firing rate of about 700 rounds per minute, and works in all terrains. India plans to use it across the army as well as the Air Force.
भाइयों और बहनों, अब कोरबा की ऑर्डिनेंस फैक्ट्री में दुनिया की सबसे आधुनिक उन बंदूकों में से एक AK-203 यानी कलांस्कोव राइफलों की सीरीज का सबसे नवीन हथियार ये हमारे अमेठी में बनाया जाएगा। ये राइफलें रूस और भारत का एक जॉइंट वेंचर मिलकर बनाएगा।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced the plans in Amethi in 2019, following which the government of India signed a contract worth around 5,100 crore rupees in 2021 to produce about 6.01 lakh rifles in India, along with 70,000 rifles that were imported from Russia. By the end of 2025, the rifle is expected to become 100% Indian-made, with parts such as the barrel, trigger, and receiver manufactured domestically. The aim is to finish all deliveries by December 2030, 2 years before the original deadline of 2032. This project replaces the INSAS and moves India toward full self-reliance in small arms. India's need for a modern rifle goes back several decades. After using the L1A1 self-loading rifle from the 1950s, India shifted to the INSAS rifle in 1990. The INSAS was a 5.56mm weapon designed by Indian agencies. Over time, problems appeared, including magazine cracks in cold weather, overheating, and frequent malfunctions. These issues became clear during counter-insurgency operations and during the Kargil conflict. Between 1990 and 1992, India also imported around 100,000 AKM-type rifles from Russia, Romania, Hungary, and Israel to meet urgent needs. In 2015, the CRPF began replacing some INSAS rifles with AKM rifles for better reliability. By 2017, the Government of India agreed to retire the INSAS and look for a stronger 7.62mm rifle. In 2018, India started fast-track procurement of rifles and issued a larger tender for over 7 lakh rifles. The AK-203, designed by Russia's Kalashnikov concern, was selected as the main option. In October 2018, India and Russia agreed to set up a joint venture. It was registered in February 2019 as IRRPL and was located at the Korwa factory in Amethi. Production was expected in 2020, but cost issues, COVID-19 delays, and travel restrictions slowed progress. India bought 70,000 rifles directly from Russia in 2021 to fill the gap. Full manufacturing in Amethi started in January 2023. India plans to produce the remaining 6.01 lakh rifles indigenously. The annual goal from 2026 is 150,000 rifles or 12,000 rifles per month. About 1,20,000 rifles per year will go to the Indian Army. The remaining 30,000 will be used for state police, paramilitary forces and exports. Border units will receive the AK-203 first because of operational needs along the line of actual control and borders with Pakistan. IRRPL plans to complete all deliveries by December 2030 ahead of the 2032 deadline. The first fully indigenous batch of rifles will be delivered by December 2025. After that, the rifle will carry the Indian name Sher. Several countries in Africa and the Middle East have shown interest. Nepal and some Indian state police forces have also discussed procurement. Once AK-203 is fully indigenized, India plans to reduce costs and start exporting the rifle.
All right, Prime Minister Modi calls for shedding the slavery mindset, reiterates the attack against the Macaulay mindset from Ayodhya after the historic Dhwajarohan. We'll get you more on that. Stay tuned.
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे, दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे। केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ।
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार। विमल, बोलो जुबान केसरी। our pure Shahi Paneer Masala. Delicious, healthy, every day.
China and Japan are clashing verbally over Taiwan. Tensions between China and Japan have risen over Taiwan's security. Japan has signaled it may intervene in a potential conflict, viewing it as a threat to its own stability. China condemned this as meddling, issuing strong warnings and summoning diplomats. This conflict started when Japan's newly appointed Prime Minister, Sanae Takaichi, issued a direct warning to China during a session of the country's parliament. She stated that a conflict in the Taiwan Strait could represent a survival-threatening situation for Japan, implying that Tokyo might need to intervene militarily to protect its interests. This marked a bold escalation in Japan's stance on the Taiwan issue, signaling readiness to support Taiwan against potential Chinese action. Takaichi's comments, delivered amid rising regional tensions, prompted an immediate and sharp rebuke from Beijing, highlighting the fragile balance in East Asia and the risk of broader confrontation.
The remarks made by the Japanese leader on Taiwan constitute an interference in
Viewers, top headlines. Himanta Sarma gives a big statement on Zubeen death case in assembly. He says it was not a criminal conspiracy but a plain murder. CM of Assam, Himanta Biswa Sarma introduces the Assam Prohibition of Polygamy Bill 2025. Shraddha Kapoor's brother Siddhant summoned by Mumbai police in the case linked to Dawood. Sunila Jaitley files domestic violence case against her husband Peter Haag.
हमारी व्यवस्था के हर कोने में गुलामी की इस मानसिकता ने डेरा डाला हुआ। अब हमने नौसेना के ध्वज से गुलामी के हर प्रतीक को हटाया है।
Prime Minister Modi demolishes the Gulami mindset and says Ram was ignored earlier. Children among 10 killed as Pakistan strikes multiple provinces of Afghanistan. Taliban warns of irreversible consequences. Good afternoon, viewers. With live and breaking, I'm Shivangi Shukla getting you the latest. Ayodhya witnessed a historic celebration as Prime Minister Modi hoisted a saffron flag atop the Ram temple, marking its formal completion. Now, this milestone comes 22 months after he presided over the consecration of the Ram Lalla idol. Now, the 10 by 20 feet flag is featuring the sun, Om, and the very, very sacred tree, symbolizing Lord Ram's brilliance and valor. A ceremony took place on Vivah Panchami. Viewers, it's a very, very auspicious day commemorating the divine marriage of Ram and Sita, adding spiritual significance to the occasion.
Ram Rasayan तुम्हारे पासा
हो रघुपति के दासा तुमरे भजन राम को पावे।
स्वस्तेन बृहस्पतिर्दधातु प्रेखादशवा मारुताः प्रश्नीमाताराः शोभञ्जावानो वेदथे खो जगमायाः।
As a short while back, Prime Minister Modi had spoken after hoisting the flag. He called for an end to the slave mentality.
हमारे यहाँ भगवान बसवन्ना उनके अनुभव मंटपा की जानकारी भी सीमित रखी गई। अनुभव मंटपा यानी जहां सामाजिक, धार्मिक और आर्थिक विषयों पर सार्वजनिक बहस होती थी, जहां सामूहिक सहमति से निर्णय लिए जाते थे। लेकिन गुलामी की मानसिकता के कारण इस भारत की कितनी ही पीढ़ियों को इस जानकारी से भी वंचित रखा गया। साथियों, हमारी व्यवस्था के हर कोने में गुलामी की इस मानसिकता ने डेरा डाला हुआ था। अब याद करिए, भारतीय नौसेना का ध्वज सदियों तक उस ध्वज पर ऐसे प्रतीक बने रहे जिनका हमारी सभ्यता, हमारी शक्ति, हमारी विरासत से कोई संबंध नहीं था। अब हमने नौसेना के ध्वज से गुलामी के हर प्रतीक को हटाया है। हमने छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज की विरासत को स्थापित किया है। और ये सिर्फ एक डिजाइन में बदलाव नहीं हुआ, ये मानसिकता बदलने का क्षण था। ये वो घोषणा थी कि भारत अब अपनी शक्ति अपने प्रतीकों से परिभाषित करेगा, न कि किसी और की विरासत से। और साथियों, यही परिवर्तन आज अयोध्या में भी दिख रहा है। साथियों, ये गुलामी की मानसिकता ही है जिसने इतने वर्षों तक रामत्व को नकारा है। भगवान राम अपने आप में एक वैल्यू सिस्टम है। ओरछा के राजा राम से लेकर रामेश्वरम के भक्त राम तक और शबरी के प्रभु राम से लेकर मिथिला के पाहुन राम जी तक भारत के हर घर में, हर भारतीय के मन में और भारतवर्ष के हर कण कण में राम है। लेकिन गुलामी की मानसिकता इतनी हावी हो गई कि प्रभु राम को भी काल्पनिक घोषित किया जाने लगा। साथियों, अगर हम ठान ले अगले 10 साल में मानसिक गुलामी से पूरी तरह मुक्ति पा लेंगे और तब जाकर के ऐसी ज्वाला प्रज्वलित होगी, ऐसा आत्मविश्वास बढ़ेगा कि 2047 तक विकसित भारत का सपना पूरा होने से भारत को कोई रोक नहीं पाएगा। हमारे यहां भगवान बसवन्ना, उनके अनुभव मंटपा की जानकारी भी सीमित रखी गई। अनुभव मंटपा यानी जहां सामाजिक, धार्मिक और आर्थिक विषयों पर सार्वजनिक बहस होती थी, जहां सामूहिक सहमति से निर्णय लिए जाते थे। लेकिन गुलामी की मानसिकता के कारण इस भारत की कितनी ही पीढ़ियों को इस जानकारी से भी वंचित रखा गया। साथियों, हमारी व्यवस्था के हर कोने में गुलामी की इस मानसिकता ने डेरा डाला हुआ था। अब याद करिए, भारतीय नौसेना का ध्वज सदियों तक उस ध्वज पर ऐसे प्रतीक बने रहे जिनका हमारी सभ्यता, हमारी शक्ति, हमारी विरासत से कोई संबंध नहीं था। अब हमने नौसेना के ध्वज से गुलामी के हर प्रतीक को हटाया है। हमने छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज की विरासत को स्थापित किया है। और ये सिर्फ एक डिजाइन में बदलाव नहीं हुआ, ये मानसिकता बदलने का क्षण था। ये वो घोषणा थी कि भारत अब अपनी शक्ति अपने प्रतीकों से परिभाषित करेगा, न कि किसी और की विरासत से। और साथियों, यही परिवर्तन आज अयोध्या में भी दिख रहा है। साथियों, ये गुलामी की मानसिकता ही है जिसने इतने वर्षों तक रामत्व को नकारा है। भगवान राम अपने आप में एक वैल्यू सिस्टम है। ओरछा के राजा राम से लेकर रामेश्वरम के भक्त राम तक और शबरी के प्रभु राम से लेकर मिथिला के पाहुन राम जी तक, भारत के हर घर में, हर भारतीय के मन में और भारतवर्ष के हर कण कण में राम है। लेकिन गुलामी की मानसिकता इतनी हावी हो गई कि प्रभु राम को भी काल्पनिक घोषित किया जाने लगा। साथियों, अगर हम ठान ले अगले 10 साल में मानसिक गुलामी से पूरी तरह मुक्ति पा लेंगे और तब जाकर के ऐसी ज्वाला प्रज्वलित होगी, ऐसा आत्मविश्वास बढ़ेगा कि 2047 तक विकसित भारत का सपना पूरा होने से भारत को कोई रोक नहीं पाएगा।
Meanwhile, Republic also spoke to Kashyap Mewada from Ahmedabad. They have made the auspicious Dharma Dhwaj. Let's listen in.
कश्यप जी, आप हमें ये बताइए कि आपने ये जो काम किया है, आपके परिवार को, आपकी पीढ़ी को ये जो काम मिला, तो इस ध्वजा के बारे में, उसके महत्व के बारे में हमें बताइए।
जय श्री राम। ध्वजा के बारे में बताएं तो 3 लेयर फैब्रिक में बना है और उसमें सैटिन रेशमी वर्क किया हुआ है। फिर उसमें ऊपर गोल्डन एम्ब्रॉयडरी वर्क किया है। फिर इसके ऊपर कल्प वृक्ष, कोविदार वृक्ष बोलते हैं इसको। फिर उसके ऊपर सूर्यनारायण भगवान, ओम, सब हम लोगों ने किया हुआ है।
मतलब 3 सिंबल्स हैं। एक तो वृक्ष है जो इक्ष्वाकु परिवार का राजवृक्ष कहा जाता है, ओम है जो यूनिवर्सल साउंड जिसे हम कहते हैं, और तीसरा जी, सूर्य नारायण भगवान की प्रतिकृति है, तो क्या इम्पोर्टेंस है इसके रंग, इसके रूप और जो बॉर्डर्स बनाई गई है, इन सब के बारे में हमें बताइए।
कोविदार वृक्ष का इम्पोर्टेंस ये है कि वो राम भगवान के टाइम का है और सूर्यनारायण भगवान जो राम का प्रतीक है, श्री राम भगवान का, और ओम भी उनका प्रतीक है। तो उसका जो बॉर्डर है वो भी हम लोगों ने गोल्डन एम्ब्रॉयडरी करके किया हुआ है पूरा।
इसमें जो क्लॉथ यूज़ किया होगा, फैब्रिक, इसकी ड्यूरेबिलिटी के बारे में बताइए, क्योंकि हमें पता है कि अक्सर जब ध्वज चढ़ाया जाता है तो कई प्रति किलोमीटर घंटे की स्पीड पे हवा चलती है, बारिश आती है, धूप होती है, तो इसके बारे में बताइए।
जैसे हम लोगों को कहा गया था वहाँ से कि ड्यूरेबिलिटी तो चाहिए हमको, तो फिर उसके हिसाब से हम लोगों ने थ्री लेयर फैब्रिक में किया हुआ है। तो उसके हिसाब से वो 6 महीने तक तो कुछ नहीं होगा उसको, फिर डिपेंड्स ऑन वेदर।
हमें ये बताइए कि जैसे हमने राम मंदिर के निर्माण को देखा, भारत के कई हिस्सों से, कहीं से पत्थर आए, कहीं से कारीगर आए, किसी ने डिज़ाइन की, किसी ने वस्त्र बनाए, तो इमोशनली क्या कनेक्ट है, क्या भावना है आपकी कि राम मंदिर की जो ध्वजा है, जिसका ध्वजारोहण समारोह हम देख रहे हैं, जब हम बात कर रहे हैं, तो वो गुजरात की पावन भूमि से, अहमदाबाद से गया है, आपके घर से गया है, तो क्या भावना है?
हमारे लिए तो बहुत गर्व की बात है। हमारी बेसिकली हम लोग विश्वकर्मा वंशज कहलाते हैं, मेवाड़ा सुतार फैमिली से है, तो हमारे लिए तो बहुत गर्व की बात है। ध्वजदंड भी हमने बनाया था, तो और ध्वजदंड इटसेल्फ 42 फीट हाइट और 5100 किलो वजन का है, तो वो भी एक इटसेल्फ क्या बोलते हैं इसको, अलग ही है कुछ बनने में। तो फिर अभी तक वो बना भी नहीं है यहाँ पे पूरे मंदिर में, कोई कहीं भी जगह पे इतना बड़ा ध्वजदंड कहीं पे नहीं बना है।
ये बहुत बड़ी बात आप हमारे प्रेक्षकों के लिए, व्यूअर्स के लिए कह रहे हैं कि ऐसा दंड कहीं पे भी नहीं बना है अब तक।
हाँ जी, क्योंकि ये राम मंदिर बहुत बड़ा मंदिर है और जो ध्वजदंड जो हम लोगों ने बनाया है वो अभी तक तो कहीं पे नहीं बना।
कितना वजन है इसका?
5100 kg।
5000 से भी ज़्यादा।
5 टन।
जी जी। और क्या कहेंगे, कितने दिन लगे ये ध्वज बनाने के लिए, कितने कारीगर इसमें समाहित थे, और जब ये बन रहा था तो किस प्रोसेस से ये बन रहा था?
हम लोग ध्वजा की बात करें, फैब्रिक ध्वजा की, तो उसमें 8 से 10 कारीगर इन्वॉल्व थे और उसमें 20 से 25 दिन लगे थे।
And we're getting some more updates coming in. Congress leader Imran Masood has also sparked a big controversy by suggesting that Ayodhya's local MP, a Dalit, was not invited to the Ram Mandir flag hoisting ceremony. Now, Masood questioned why the local MP was not given the honor of participating in the event, implying that the omission might be due to their Dalit background. Now, the ceremony, viewers, was attended by PM Modi, RSS chief Mohan Bhagwat and UP CM Yogi Adityanath. Marked the completion of the Ram temple's construction. The saffron flag, symbolizing dignity and cultural continuity, was hoisted atop the temple's spire. Now, so just getting you these updates coming in, we see that Congress leaders sparking controversy, and this time it's Imran Masood. Okay, let's go straight across to the next set of breaking updates coming in right now. Massive showdown in Bengal, viewers. Mamata issues direct threat. Mamata, if you attack me, India will be jolted. Mamata's statement is coming in, warning the BJP, I will give India a jolt. And this is what she has said in a speech. If you attack me, I will give a jolt to India. So back-to-back updates coming in on Republic TV, viewers. What we see right now is that massive showdown happening in West Bengal. And there's a warning that has come in from Mamata Banerjee. It's a statement that she has made that I will give India a jolt. Massive showdown in Bengal. Mamata issuing a direct threat that we are seeing. And this is what she said. This is what she says right now. She's saying that I will give a jolt to India if she is attacked. So we'll try to go across to our colleagues in a short while from now. But once again, we see that one more controversial and big statement has come in from the CM of West Bengal, Mamata Banerjee. The big showdown that we are seeing, a big showdown that we are seeing right now coming in from West Bengal. Mamata Banerjee has made this statement. We'll of course try to get our viewers more updates. But this is the latest statement that has come in from Mamata Banerjee. So back-to-back updates coming in. Back-to-back updates coming in right now. Let's go to Kishula is joining us. Kishula, I'm coming across to you right now. Mamata Banerjee issues a direct threat. And if you could help our viewers understand what is this threat all about? Because she's saying if you attack me, and this is, if you attack, who is she referring to? Who is you here?
Well, exactly. This is a shocking statement by Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee. She's saying, if you attack me, I'll shake the whole country. I'll make sure that the whole country shakes. Now, I probably believe, we believe that she's referring to the Election Commission and the central government, because she was directly referring to SIR before she spoke about this particular statement. She was saying that in Bengal, SIR is done in order to take away power from the TMC government, and the central government and BJP is doing so, using the Election Commission. This is what Mamata Banerjee was referring to. And then she started saying that if I am attacked, if you attack me, I'll ensure that the whole country is in ripples. Now, Mamata Banerjee, while referring to this particular quote-unquote attack, she also is saying that you must know that a tiger which is already hurt is more dangerous than a normal tiger. This is the kind of threats that she's using. This is the kind of language she's using while referring to the Election Commission and the central government. So it's very clear that Mamata Banerjee probably understands that after SIR, a huge amount of Bangladeshi infiltrators will be cut out of the voter list, and that will reduce the votes of TMC. That is what the BJP is saying, and therefore Mamata Banerjee, out of that fear, out of that worry, is using statements like this and threatening the Election Commission and the central government, using words like using statements like if you attack me, I'll ensure the whole country is in ripples. It's a direct threat, and probably she's referring to the Election Commission and the central government.
Yes, and Kishila, please stay on with us. You know, this is coming in the backdrop of Mamata Banerjee's ongoing opposition to the SIR, and we see that she was addressing this rally that's in North 24 Parganas. If you could help our viewers understand what else did she say, because she is also leading a protest march.
Well, exactly. This North 24 Pargana, this area is also very crucial, because this is known as the area of the Motuas. Motuas are a community of the Hindus who mainly have come from Bangladesh. They fled when the country was divided, and they took shelter in and around Bengal in these areas. Motua community, a prominent Hindu community, is mostly voting for BJP in the last few elections. So Mamata Banerjee visiting this particular area, in the areas where Motuas are in a large number, the concentration of Motuas are in large number, clearly gives out a message that she is trying to woo them. Now, while doing so, she is also referring to the Election Commission's decision to conduct a very thorough SIR throughout the country and also in Bengal. She's saying that it is directly against the Motuas. She's saying that the Election Commission and BJP wants to remove names of legitimate voters, and therefore she will try to stop the BJP government from doing so. And while referring to all these statements, she also threatened the central government and the Election Commission, saying that if she is attacked while protesting, then she will ensure that the whole country is in ripples. Back to the studio.
Yes, Kishila, thank you for getting us all those details. I'm coming back to you for more on the story. Let's move ahead, viewers, to some of the other stories we're tracking. The Karnataka Lokayukta officials conducted raids across the city in about 10 locations simultaneously amid its ongoing crackdown on corrupted government officers. Here is a quick report.
Raids were conducted across Karnataka early this morning. Conducted by Karnataka's Lokayukta sleuths, the raids were conducted simultaneously across 10 locations in an attempt to crack down on the government officials suspected of amassing disproportionate assets. Visuals show the simultaneous raids being conducted across the state. From Karnataka University Professor Subhash Chandra's residence in Darbar to APMC Assistant Director Prabhuji's residence in Devanagere, and even Municipality CEO Puttaswamy C's residence in Mandya. The raid in Mysore was particularly successful as retrieved in Hootgali Municipality Revenue Inspector Ramaswamy C's residence were property deeds worth crores, gold ornaments and cash. The government of Karnataka has been cracking down on corruption, and the raids are a consequence of this determination to ensure that common man does not suffer due to the avarice of the government officials and they serve the public without seeking bribes and favors.
Getting you Metro coming up, viewers. Children among 10 killed as Pakistan strikes multiple provinces of Afghanistan. Taliban warns of irreversible consequences. Stay tuned.
प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा हार्डकोर मसाला केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे केसरिया से मन जोगी
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल ये रंग दे ये खुशबू दे ये तीखा ये कम पड़े क्या निराला MDH मसाला
China and Japan are clashing verbally over Taiwan. Tensions between China and Japan have risen over Taiwan's security. Japan has signaled it may intervene in a potential conflict, viewing it as a threat to its own stability. China condemned this as meddling, issuing strong warnings and summoning diplomats. This conflict started when Japan's newly appointed Prime Minister, Sanae Takaichi, issued a direct warning to China during a session of the country's parliament. She stated that a conflict in the Taiwan Strait could represent a survival-threatening situation for Japan, implying that Tokyo might need to intervene militarily to protect its interests. This marked a...
Hi, I'm Ram Desai, Morgan Stanley India's Managing Director. And I'm looking forward to being at the India Economic Summit hosted by Republic Business at their headquarters in Noida on November 28, 2025.
Our pure Shahi Paneer Masala. Delicious, healthy, every day.
QS&THE, the world's foremost university rankings organizations, have ranked Amity amongst the top 3% universities globally, making it among the very few Indian universities to be included in both rankings. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे केसरिया से मन जोगी
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी
So in the past, we would see most of the terrorists who would get arrested, they would be like the people who would be working at a very low level. But today we have seen the white collar suspect.
कश्मीर घाटी में डॉक्टर्स एक बहुत अल्टीमेट ड्रीम होता है वहां के लड़के लड़कियों का, उस बनने के बावजूद अगर आप रेडिकलाइज होकर अपने ही देशवासियों को मारने के लिए और अपने देश को तोड़ने के लिए तैयार हो सकते हैं, तो आप अंदाजा लगाइए किस तरह की रेडिकलाइजेशन हो रही है और इस फ्रंट पे हम क्या
आधे बाउल दही में 4 चम्मच MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला डाला, स्टर करो, पुदीना चटनी तैयार। MDH चटनी पुदीना मसाला।
इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रूंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं।
रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
पहाड़ों में एक हाइकिंग शिप भी बन सकती है।
आर प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी एवरीडे।
China and Japan are clashing verbally over Taiwan. Tensions between China and Japan have risen over Taiwan's security. Japan has signaled it may intervene in a potential conflict, viewing it as a threat to its own stability. China condemned this as meddling, issuing strong warnings and summoning diplomats. This conflict started when Japan's newly appointed Prime Minister, Sanae Takaichi, issued a direct warning to China during a session of the country's parliament. She stated that a conflict in the Taiwan Strait could represent a survival-threatening situation for Japan, implying that Tokyo might need to intervene militarily to protect its interests. This marked a bold escalation in Japan's stance on the Taiwan issue, signaling readiness to support Taiwan against potential Chinese action. Takaichi's comments, delivered amid rising regional tensions, prompted an immediate and sharp rebuke from Beijing, highlighting the fragile balance in East Asia and the risk of broader confrontation.
The remarks made by the Japanese leader on Taiwan constitute an interference in China's internal affairs and a serious violation of the One China principle and the basic norms governing international relations. Such words are extremely irresponsible and dangerous in nature and have caused very negative impact.
Taiwan is an island of 23 million people, situated about 100 miles off China's southeast coast. China regards it as a breakaway province under the One China.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Hello viewers, a very good afternoon. We are live and breaking. I'm Shivangi Shukla getting you the latest. A bit of escalation and tension between Pakistan and Afghanistan. We see that Pakistan has now said they will be responding to Pakistan after strikes have killed 10. We'll get to all those updates. We'll get to all the live coverage on this, but the headlines first. Let's get started. Himanta Sharma gives his big statement on Zubeen death case in assembly. He says it was not criminal conspiracy but plain murder. CM of Assam, Himanta Biswa Sarma introduces the Assam Prohibition of Polygamy Bill 2025. Shraddha Kapoor's brother Siddhant summoned by Mumbai police in a drug case linked to Dawood. Selina Jaitley files domestic violence case against her husband Peter Hag.
हमारी व्यवस्था के हर कोने में गुलामी की इस मानसिकता ने डेरा डाला हुआ था। अब हमने नौसेना के ध्वज से गुलामी के हर प्रतीक को हटाया है।
Prime Minister Modi demolishes Gulami mindset and says Ram was ignored earlier. Children among 10 killed as Pakistan strikes multiple provinces of Afghanistan. Taliban warns of irreversible consequences. Top story, viewers. Afghanistan's Taliban government has accused Pakistan of killing 10 people. 9 of them were children and 1 woman in an airstrike on Tuesday. The strike was reported just a day after a suicide attack on a security compound in Pakistan's Peshawar city, viewers. This is the big update coming in. Afghanistan's Taliban government has said they will respond appropriately to the overnight border strikes it blamed when Pakistan had killed 10 people. Tensions are soaring in the region following a suicide bombing in Peshawar a day earlier, viewers. So this is what we see right now. I want to go to Hashmat, is joining us live from Kabul. Hashmat, we see the spokesperson for the Taliban government, Zabihullah Mujahid, has posted on X. The Pakistani are invading forces bombed the house of a local civilian resident. As a result, 9 children and 1 woman were dead. If you could help our viewers understand what is happening and what is Afghanistan saying. They say there will be consequences. Hashmat.
Yeah, good time to all. As you said, late last night, Pak Army have targeted 3 places in Kunar, Paktika, and also in Khost province next to a Durand line. And this airstrike, unfortunately, we lost our civilians and we have many injured. We have 4 injured in Kunar province and also in Khost Gurbaz district. The result of airstrike, have been killed 10 civilians, 1 mother and their children that they were sleeping on that time. Zabihullah Mujahid Taliban spokesperson have gave a statement and they condemned this airstrike, and they said that this against the ceasefire, because we have a ceasefire with Pakistan in Durand line, but they broke. This is the second time that Pakistan army are breaking the ceasefire rules, and they targeted Afghan civilians' houses in Afghanistan.
Yes, Hashmat, also, help our viewers understand what happened when there was a truce, a truce between Pakistan and Afghanistan. However, that truce, the ceasefire truce, is very, very fragile, very fragile. So what is happening? Why do you think is Pakistan breaking that truce?
As you know, the first time that Pakistan said that they targeted TTP leader in Kabul city, but that was not true. That was a fake that they said. And and last we saw the video of the Tehreek Taliban of Pakistan leaders in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa. In that time, when Amir Khan Muttaqi leave Kabul to Delhi, Pakistan have airstrike on Kabul city, and this is the second time that a new official delegates have leave Kabul to Delhi about economic relation with Kabul and Delhi. Because of this, I have spoken with many of the people. They said off the record to me that every time that we want to have a good relation with India, like economic relation, political relation, Pakistan are doing same, and this is because of this that days before a team of Afghan trade minister and foreign ministry, they go to Delhi and they want to have good economic relation with Delhi. Because of this, they targeted against civilian people. A Taliban official didn't say yet of reaction about now, up to now, but the people guessed that Afghanistan Taliban army have to react same to Pakistan army bases, because they targeted our civilians twice in this month. By the way, that we have ceasefire, but they broke the ceasefire and do like this.
Yes. Hashmat, also, we have to talk a little bit about the charges and counter charges, because Afghanistan is saying that the strikes exposing the failure of the Pakistan military regime. Then Kabul is denying the charges and counters that Pakistan is harboring groups hostile to Afghanistan. So we see a lot of charges and counter charges between Pakistan and Afghanistan. Hashmat.
Yeah, you know that many times the Pakistans they said that there is TTP leaders in Afghanistan, and they said that we were trying to have operation on TTP leaders. But the Afghan officials said always that there is no of TTP leaders in Afghanistan, and they didn't let any armed or weapon armed groups that they get Afghanistan soils against to any country. But this is the habit of Pakistan, that they didn't want peace. They didn't want to have like a good neighbor. We said after Kashmir Belgaum attack, they just targeted civilians people, and but that's the same. There's no difference between Kashmir attack and Kabul attacks and Khost attacks. There's no. Just they want to. They didn't have any result. They didn't have any example that they said that the Taliban official that there is TTP leaders. Always, you know that the before months they targeted our cricket team, our local cricket team. Now they targeted civilians and hosts, and we have shared the pictures and video to you. There's nothing that they said that there is like a terrorist group and everything, but they're doing like this. But I think this time will be more difficult for them, as I guess as a journalist and as Afghan, that will be more bad and heavy reaction to Pakistan army.
All right. Well, thank you for getting us all those details, Hashmat getting us live updates from Kabul. Let's move ahead to some of the other stories we're tracking. Next is Bharat in 1 minute. Let's get started.
Bharat 1 Minute, brought to you by Canara Bank. Together we can.
Amid rising speculations of infighting in Karnataka Congress, Deputy Chief Minister D.K. Shivakumar met party President Mallikarjun Kharge in the state capital. This crucial meeting comes when MLAs from the Shivakumar faction have already been camping in Delhi to meet the Congress High Command. As per sources, both the leaders left for the airport in the same car. Karnataka Lokayukta conducted massive simultaneous raids in multiple districts across the state, targeting officials accused of corruption. Search operations were carried out in Bengaluru, Mysore and other areas against officials from different departments. Property deeds worth crores, gold ornaments and cash have been recovered from Inspector Ramaswamy's residence in Mysore till now. The sacred gates of the Badrinath Dham will be closed from today for the winter season. Now, for the ceremonial closure of the gates, the temple has been decorated with 12 quintals of marigold flowers, with large numbers of devotees arriving to witness the significant ceremony. The mandir will now open for the devotees in April next year. Viewers, India has released a new tactical video of the AK-203 rifle, officially renamed Sher, marking a major step in the country's small arms modernization program. The AK-203 is replacing the Insats rifle and is now being produced at the Indo-Russian Rifles Private Limited facility in Amethi, Uttar Pradesh. Take a look.
The AK-203 is being manufactured in Amethi, Uttar Pradesh, under a joint venture between India and Russia called Indo-Russian Rifles Private Limited, or IRRPL. The rifle fires 7.62 by 39 mm rounds, has a firing rate of about 700 rounds per minute, and works in all terrains. India plans to use it across the army as well as the Air Force.
भाइयों और बहनों, अब कोरबा की ऑर्डिनेंस फैक्ट्री में दुनिया की सबसे आधुनिक उन बंदूकों में से एक AK-203 यानी कलांस्कोव राइफलों की सीरीज का सबसे नवीन हथियार ये हमारे अमेठी में बनाया जाएगा। ये राइफलें रूस और भारत का एक ज्वाइंट वेंचर मिलकर बनाएगा।
Prime Minister Narendra Modi announced the plans in Amethi in 2019, following which the Government of India signed a contract worth around 5,100 crore rupees in 2021 to produce about 6.01 lakh rifles in India, along with 70,000 rifles that were imported from Russia. By the end of 2025, the rifle is expected to become 100% Indian-made, with parts such as the barrel, trigger, and receiver manufactured domestically. The aim is to finish all deliveries by December 2030, 2 years before the original deadline of 2032. This project replaces the INSAS and moves India toward full self-reliance in small arms. India's need for a modern rifle goes back several decades. After using the L1A1 self-loading rifle from the 1950s, India shifted to the INSAS rifle in 1990. The INSAS was a 5.56mm weapon designed by Indian agencies. Over time, problems appeared, including magazine cracks in cold weather, overheating, and frequent malfunctions. These issues became clear during counter-insurgency operations and during the Kargil conflict. Between 1990 and 1992, India also imported around 100,000 AKM-type rifles from Russia, Romania, Hungary, and Israel to meet urgent needs. In 2015, the CRPF began replacing some INSAS rifles with AKM rifles for better reliability. By 2017, the Government of India agreed to retire the INSAS and look for a stronger 7.62mm rifle. In 2018, India started fast-track procurement of rifles and issued a larger tender for over 7 lakh rifles. The AK-203, designed by Russia's Kalashnikov concern, was selected as the main option. In October 2018, India and Russia agreed to set up a joint venture. It was registered in February 2019 as IRRPL and was located at the Korva factory in Amethi. Production was expected in 2020, but cost issues, COVID-19 delays, and travel restrictions slowed progress. India bought 70,000 rifles directly from Russia in 2021 to fill the gap. Full manufacturing in Amethi started in January 2023. India plans to produce the remaining 6.01 lakh rifles indigenously. The annual goal from 2026 is 150,000 rifles or 12,000 rifles per month. About 1,20,000 rifles per year will go to the Indian Army. The remaining 30,000 will be used for state police, paramilitary forces and exports. Border units will receive the AK-203 first because of operational needs along the line of actual control and borders with Pakistan. IRRPL plans to complete all deliveries by December 2030 ahead of the 2032 deadline. The first fully indigenous batch of rifles will be delivered by December 2025. After that, the rifle will carry the Indian name Sher. Several countries in Africa and the Middle East have shown interest. Nepal and some Indian state police forces have also discussed procurement. Once AK-203 is fully indigenized, India plans to reduce costs and start exporting the rifle.
And viewers, getting more updates coming in. The Karnataka Lokayukta officials are conducting raids in 10 locations against corrupted officers. Take a look.
Raids were conducted across Karnataka early this morning. Conducted by Karnataka's Lokayukta sleuths, the raids were conducted simultaneously across 10 locations in an attempt to crack down on the government officials suspected of amassing disproportionate assets. Visuals show the simultaneous raids being conducted across the state. From Karnataka University Professor Subhash Chandra's residence in Darbar to APMC Assistant Director Prabhuji's residence in Devanagere, and even Municipality CEO Puttaswamy C's residence in Mandya. The raid in Mysore was particularly successful as retrieved in Hootgali Municipality Revenue Inspector Ramaswamy C's residence were property deeds worth crores, gold ornaments and cash. The government of Karnataka has been cracking down on corruption, and the raids are a consequence of this determination to ensure that common man does not suffer due to the avarice of the government officials and they serve the public without seeking bribes and favors.
Hi viewers, getting more updates coming in. Assam CM Himanta Biswa Sarma has declared in a state assembly that singer Zubeen Garg's death was not an accident but a murder. The 52-year-old singer and composer had died on September 19th when swimming in a sea in Singapore. CM Sarma made the remarks during the winter session of the Assam Legislative Assembly. His statement comes during a discussion on the death of Garg, which is initiated by the opposition through an adjournment motion. Now, he clarified that the case did not fall under culpable homicide or criminal conspiracy, insisting instead that it was a plain murder. Let's go straight across to my colleague who's joining us. We have Anuradha who's joining us live. Anuradha, coming across to you right now, Zubeen Garg was one of the main topics which was discussed in the State Assembly. And we see this big statement coming in from the Assam CM where he's saying that it was not an accident but a murder. This is coming in the backdrop of the investigation which is continuing.
Yes, the Assam police in fact had been investigating the death of Zubeen Garg as a murder case, and that is why sections related to murder were also slapped on the accused, and all the accused who have been held under judicial custody at present and who were arrested in connection to the Zubeen Garg murder, they are being tried for murder. Today, when the opposition Congress, CPIM and one independent MLA particularly moved adjournment motion in the Legislative Assembly seeking discussion on the death and probe of Zubeen Garg. At that point in time, while replying to the queries made by the opposition, Assam Chief Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma on the floor of the House had clearly mentioned that Zubeen Garg's case is not just a freak accident in the sea in Singapore, but in fact it was a murder, and that the planning, there was a conspiracy going on for a long time to murder Zubeen Garg. This is what the Chief Minister has placed on record in the Assam Legislative Assembly. The Chief Minister has also said that as far as the investigation is concerned, the investigation has not yet completed, and the opposition should hold their guns before pointing out fingers at the investigation. And once the SIT submits a report, and then they can discuss over it again.
All right, well, thank you for giving us those details. I'll be coming back to you for more on this, Aniruddha. Let's move ahead. High drama unfolded as a group of workers came face-to-face with protesting members of a booth-level officers forum in front of the West Bengal CEO's office here around midnight. Now, this was amid growing discontent regarding the ongoing SIR in the state. Here's a quick report. Take a look.
Drama unfolded in Bengal as a platform of BLOs, that is BLO Rights Protection Committee, held a rally in Kolkata on Monday, seeking the immediate stoppage of the SIR of electoral rolls in Bengal. This stoppage was sought on grounds of inhumane stress, as they claim they are subjected to tremendous stress, excessive work pressure and unimaginable workload during the ongoing special intensive revision of electoral rolls. The Chief Electoral Officer Manoj Kumar Agarwal on Monday said that the poll body has asked the district magistrates to assist the BLOs and investigate the death of around 4 BLOs during the exercise. This led to the West Bengal Election Commission via its chief electoral officer calling an emergency meeting at 8 p.m. last night so as to discuss the difficulties in uploading SIR forms amongst other problems. By midnight yesterday, tensions escalated outside the EC office in Kolkata as protesters gathered to express their opposition and demand clarity as to the ongoing process.
देखिए बंगाल में 2 साल जहां एसआईआर को लगता है वहां 2 महीना में एसआईआर किया जाता है। हम लोग देखा है कि बिहार में और दूसरा स्टेट में करोड़ों में वोटर का नाम कट दिया गया है। ये साजिश बंगाल में भी चल रहा है।
The escalated tension was in fact high enough to warrant a 2-day inspection of the state's border areas by the governor, especially due to the exodus following the SIR.
I saw an agitating crowd on the roadside. As usual, I stopped my car. I wanted to understand their feelings. What they told me was they are not against SIR. They have some other local grievances which they made to me, which I passed on to the competent authorities.
All of this follows a letter shared by State CM Mamata Banerjee expressing serious concerns of the unplanned, chaotic and dangerous SIR, stating that such inadequate planning are compromising the process's credibility.
And viewers, taking a short break right now, but do not go anywhere. We are live in breaking. Coming up next, we continue our coverage on the top story, Shraddha Kapoor's brother Siddhant has been summoned by the Mumbai police in the drug case linked to Dawood. Stay tuned, viewers. We are live and breaking.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद ये तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा राजा और मसाला केसरिया
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी।
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
So in the past, we would see most of the terrorists who would get arrested, they would be like the people who would be working at a very low level. But today we have seen the white collar suspect.
कश्मीर घाटी में डॉक्टर्स एक बहुत अल्टीमेट ड्रीम होता है वहां के लड़के लड़कियों का। उस बनने के बावजूद अगर आप रेडिकलाइज होकर अपने ही देशवासियों को मारने के लिए और अपने देश को तोड़ने के लिए तैयार हो सकते हैं, तो आप अंदाजा लगाइए किस तरह की रेडिकलाइजेशन हो रही है और इस फ्रंट पे हम क्या काम कर रहे हैं।
अब छोलिया हो या लोबिया, सफेद चने या काले चने,
सब कुछ मजेदार बने।
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद ये तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा राजा और मसाला।
China and Japan are clashing verbally over Taiwan. Tensions between China and Japan have risen over Taiwan's security. Japan has signaled it may intervene in a potential conflict, viewing it as a threat to its own stability. China condemned this as meddling, issuing strong warnings and summoning diplomats. This conflict started when Japan's newly appointed Prime Minister, Sanae Takaichi, issued a direct warning to China during a session of the country's parliament. She stated that a conflict in the Taiwan Strait could represent a survival-threatening situation for Japan, implying that Tokyo might need to intervene militarily to protect its interests. This marked a bold escalation in Japan's stance on the Taiwan issue, signaling readiness to support Taiwan against potential Chinese action. Takaichi's comments, delivered amid rising regional tensions, prompted an immediate and sharp rebuke from Beijing, highlighting the fragile balance in East Asia and the risk of broader confrontation.
The remarks made by the...
Hi, I'm Deepak Jayaraman, and I'm excited to be part of the India Economic Summit hosted by Republic Business on the 28th of November 2025 at the Republic headquarters in Noida. Look forward to seeing you there.
ये है सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला। सिप सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप।
QS&THE, the world's foremost university rankings organizations, have ranked Amity amongst the top 3% universities globally, making it among the very few Indian universities to be included in both rankings. Yet another top ranking for Amity University.
Our pure Shahi Paneer Masala. Delicious, healthy, every day.
So in the past, we would see most of the terrorists who would get arrested, they would be like the people who would be working at a very low level. But today we have seen the white-collar suspect.
कश्मीर घाटी में डॉक्टर्स एक बहुत अल्टीमेट ड्रीम होता है वहां के लड़के लड़कियों का, उस बनने के बावजूद अगर आप रेडिकलाइज होकर अपने ही देशवासियों को मारने के लिए और अपने देश को तोड़ने के लिए तैयार हो सकते हैं, तो आप अंदाजा लगाइए किस तरह की रेडिकलाइजेशन हो रही है और इस फ्रंट पे हम क्या काम कर रहे हैं।
Investigators have identified Maulvi Irfan Wagha, also known as Imam Irfan, from Shopian in South Kashmir.
Himanta Biswa Sarma gives a big statement on Zubeen death case in assembly. He says it was not criminal conspiracy but plain murder. Chief Minister of Assam, Himanta Biswa Sarma, introduces the Assam Prohibition of Polygamy Bill 2025. Shraddha Kapoor's brother, Siddhant, summoned by Mumbai police in a drug case linked to Dawood Ibrahim. Selina Jaitley files a domestic violence case against her husband Peter Hogg.
हमारी व्यवस्था के हर कोने में गुलामी की इस मानसिकता ने डेरा डाला हुआ था। अब हमने नौसेना के ध्वज से गुलामी के हर प्रतीक को हटाया है।
Prime Minister Modi calls for the complete demolition of the Gulami mindset, the slavery mindset. Says Ram was ignored by several in the past. Children among 10 killed as Pakistan strikes multiple provinces of Afghanistan. Taliban warns of irreversible consequences. Very warm welcome. You're watching Live and Breaking, and I'm Dr. Tamisha with you. Now, West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee has sparked a major controversy as she issued stern warning amidst a heated political standoff, saying that if you attack me, India will be jolted. Now, Mamata's statement comes as she faces backlash from BJP leaders, including Assam Chief Minister Mata Shabari, who criticised her for allegedly inciting violence. It's a massive showdown in Bengal. It's a direct threat by Mamata Banerjee. Listen.
আমায় বাংলায় আঘাত করলে কারণ মানুষকে আঘাত করলে আমি মনে করি আমাকে আঘাত করছে আমাকে আঘাত করলে আমি সারা ভারতবর্ষ হিলিয়ে দেব এটা মাথায় রেখো ইলেকশনের পরে আমি একটু দেশটা চষে বেড়াবো আমায় বাংলায় আঘাত করলে কারণ মানুষকে আঘাত করলে আমি মনে করি আমাকে আঘাত করছে আমাকে আঘাত করলে আমি সারা ভারতবর্ষ হিলিয়ে দেব এটা মাথায় রেখো ইলেকশনের পরে আমি একটু দেশটা চষে বেড়াবো
And Kisholai joins us live on the broadcast for more. Kisholai, well, what does Mamata Banerjee really mean when she says that entire India will be jolted?
Well, Mamata Banerjee, today she was speaking in Thakurnagar in North 24 Pargana. I'll just remind our viewers that this is the place where most of the Motua is a Hindu community in West Bengal, who mostly fled away from Bangladesh when the partition happened. Now, this Motua community mostly votes for BJP. Mamata Banerjee standing, giving out a speech from the land of Motuas today said that if she is hurt, she will cause ripples throughout the country. She will cause the whole country to be jolted. Now, why Mamata Banerjee is saying this? Now, the BJP is saying that after SIR, Mamata Banerjee understands that most of her fake voters, the illegal Bangladeshi infiltrators who were given voter cards by Mamata Banerjee's party, according to the BJP, they will be removed, and Mamata Banerjee understands that she will lose the elections. Therefore, out of that fear of losing elections in 2026, she is now giving direct threats to the Election Commission and the central government, saying that if she is hurt or if anyone does anything that she doesn't like, then she will cause a ripple across the country. She will shake the whole country and make sure that everyone knows it. Now, Mamata Banerjee not only said this particular statement, but also she threatened in other ways as well, giving examples of a tiger who has been hurt. She is saying if a tiger is hurt, that tiger is more dangerous. So she is again and again referring to herself as someone who has been hurt. Now, who has hurt her and how, it's not clear. But BJP is saying that Mamata Banerjee is actually referring to the SIR process, and she is saying she is hurt by the SIR because she is losing her voter base, which are mostly made of infiltrators who came from Bangladesh and illegally made voter cards, and now their names will be removed. Therefore, she is saying that she is hurt, or her voter base is hurt, and therefore she is threatening the Election Commission and the central government.
Thank you so much for joining us with those details coming in, viewers, on that story. Thank you, Kisholai. Viewers, let's take a quick look at some other stories that are making news from across the country. This is Bharat in a minute.
Bharat 1 Minute, brought to you by Canara Bank. Together we can.
Ayodhya conducted massive raids simultaneously across Karnataka early this morning, targeting officials accused of corruption. Search operations were carried out in Bengaluru, Mysuru, Mandya, Darbar, Devanagari, Bidar and several other districts. Key officials raided, including 10 officers of the government, including Mandya Municipality CEO Putswami C's residence, or APMC Assistant Director Babuji's residence in Devnagari. Portals of Badrinath Dham will be closed for the winter today at 2:56 p.m. The temple has been decorated with 12 quintals of marigold flowers. The process of closing the gates will begin at 1 p.m. The Sri Badrinath Kedarnath Temple Committee has also officially completed all preparations for the ceremonial closure. A large number of devotees have arrived at the shrine for this significant occasion. Over 5,000 devotees are expected to witness the closing of the temple gates. India awoke to a thick layer of smog blanketing cities today, with a consequent dip in temperatures and AQI. From Jammu Kashmir and Delhi to Mumbai and even Chennai, cities seem to be enveloped by smog. An Indian woman from Arunachal Pradesh was detained for 18 hours at the Shanghai Pudong airport while transiting to Japan. Now, Pema Wang Thongtok, who holds an Indian passport, was told that her document was invalid. Why? Because her birthplace is listed as Arunachal Pradesh, which Chinese officials claim is part of China. And despite having a valid Japanese visa, she was barred from boarding her connecting flight and had her passport confiscated. Thong Tok eventually contacted the Indian consulate in Shanghai that helped her secure release and arrange alternative travel. She's now spoken to my colleague Shavan Sen on the matter. Take a listen in.
Pema Thongtok is an Indian citizen born in the state of Arunachal Pradesh. What has happened in the last few hours is something shocking to say the least. Prema was on her way to China when she was stopped for almost 18 hours. She lodged a strong protest. India has also responded. Joining us on this special broadcast is Prema Thongtok. Thank you very much, Ms. Thongtok, for joining us on this broadcast. I want to begin by asking you what really happened when you traveled to China. Could you tell us what is it that they had to tell you the moment they saw your Indian passport?
Thank you. I would like to correct that actually I wasn't trying to enter China. I was traveling to Japan. So there was a transit for my flight between London to Japan in China, in Shanghai. And I had successfully passed the e-gates, moving on to the security gates when one of the immigration officers singled me out of the queue and asked me to follow her, basically not giving a proper explanation. Then she took me next to the e-gates where there is the immigration, manual immigration counter. And she pointed at Arunachal on my passport and says, it's not valid, not valid for India, Indian passport not valid. So that was quite a confusing moment for me because obviously I have traveled, I'm a frequent traveler and I have used my Indian passport almost everywhere else and without any issues. Then another immigration officer came over and she basically took me from, I think, one part of the airport to the other. And even in the shuttle, which takes you from that part of the terminal to the other, she was just very unruly and unprofessional and almost screaming and saying things like, no, your passport is not valid. If you really want to transfer, then apply for a Chinese passport, almost like a mock, because obviously in 3 hours I cannot apply for a Chinese passport, and why would I do so? Because I'm an Indian citizen, I'm not Chinese. They took me to the other part where basically there was a transfer desk for China Eastern, and right next to it was the transfer desk, the desk for immigration. And basically each time I would go up to them to ask what's happening, the airline staff would refer to the immigration desk, and when I go to them, they would tell me to speak to the airline. So they just kept me hanging for quite a few hours, not giving a definitive answer. Obviously, my next transfer was in 3 hours. So what's more shocking to me is the fact that obviously I work in regulation in financial services in London, and I know that how important rules are, and obviously I wouldn't take such a step without knowing that I'm not supposed to be transiting through China, because I did actually take the exact same route on the 16th of October 2024, and it was the first time that I was transiting through China. So I actually called the Chinese embassy in London to confirm if it's okay to transfer for a couple of hours, and they said that you don't need any transit visa, it's completely okay for you to transit, there should be no issue, which is why I carried forward with this journey. But yes, they don't have, their Wi-Fi doesn't work, and even if it does work, it's so restrictive that you can't even open Google to look up Chinese, the embassy, Indian embassy in Shanghai, for example, where I wanted to make some contact with our government to understand what sort of rule the Chinese immigration is trying to impose on me. After a very, very long time, actually, that finally somehow, after waiting and getting no definitive answer, no written document to say Indian passport for someone born in Arunachal is invalid because Arunachal is considered part of China and not India. I got the landline basically from the China Eastern desk to ring up some of my friends in London, and they gave me the Indian Embassy's number. So I contacted the Indian Embassy in Shanghai. Quite frankly, very good and responsive rate, because they actually turned up the airport within an hour or so of me calling them. But the resolve was just the same, because the Chinese embassy, the Chinese immigration and the airline would just say, go back to your country, or go back to UK, but they wouldn't let me take my onward journey to Japan.
So you're saying, Ms. Thonduk, despite the intervention that was made by the Indian embassy officials, the Chinese did not allow you to travel on further to Japan?
They would not hold my passport as valid. Correct. So they would just not consider it as a valid document at all.
What was the response when you insisted that you will not apply for a Chinese visa? The fact that you are an Indian citizen born in India. What was the response that you got from them?
I mean, they would just basically dismiss anything that I was asking them questions. I mean, it's obviously, it was said as a mockery, because they said, you want to board the flight, apply for Chinese passport. Arunachal, you are a part of China, which actually is really humiliating as an Indian citizen to be told that you actually, your country and your land belongs to them and not India. But yes, I mean, it was a very long trial period for me, because at the end of the day, you know, I've traveled and I've used my Indian passport in a number of countries, and it has always been a valid document, but apparently not in Shanghai and China.
Ms. Thonduk, with regards to those who were questioning you, could you tell us, were you able to identify who was really questioning you? Was it just the immigration officials? Was it just the airport authorities? Was it just the airlines? Or do you suspect that it was way beyond that? It may not have been limited to just immigration officials, because when I have actually traveled to China, you know, there is constant gaze on what's really happening, who's really entering the country. Yes. Were you able to spot who exactly was questioning you?
Yes, I mean, obviously the first instance was the immigration officer who singled me out of the queue and basically didn't give me a proper answer. And took me back to the immigration line, the desk, the manual counter for immigration. But yes, when it was just within the first 30 minutes or so, with the confusion when they kept me near the manual counter for the immigration. But once they transferred me, I think they took me from one part of the terminal to the other or something. And then I was, for the entire rest of the time, I was at the China Eastern Transfer Desk. And there was a small counter here for the immigration officer. So it was all of them, basically. Obviously, the name's in Chinese. I can't read that. And that's actually proof enough to say I'm not Chinese, that I'm totally Indian. But basically, about four or three, the personnel kept changing. Even the immigration officers kept changing, because I was there for a very long time.
Okay.
But at one point in time, when I kind of pressured them a bit more, keeping obviously my calm, but just wanting to know what's happening, because my flight was in the next 3 hours. And they just basically was like 3 or 4 China Eastern staff on one hand, 2 immigration officers just around this side. And basically all of them were just kind of mocking and laughing at my passport and saying, Arunachal, you know, not part of India, China. They basically held my passport for the entire time. I didn't get to even touch it until the point in which basically I boarded the flight to get out of Shanghai.
So the decision that you will not go further to Japan, and you were not being allowed to do so. So they had categorically told you that you can only get out of China if you go back to UK, or was there some sort of an option given to you?
No, so just India or UK. These were the only 2 options. After 12 hours flight from the UK, 18 hours being held up without a proper explanation, I couldn't possibly take a 12-hour flight, because also if they want they say they're not deporting me, they say they're not detaining me, but how else do you explain holding my passport, not allowing me to leave the terminal? I couldn't even have access to food. I couldn't get out of that specific waiting area to get myself any food. Or at the end of the day, it was just when the Indian officials came, I think after 12 hours or so, is when I could actually get connected with them. They got me some food, etc. And
so for almost 12 hours, you were not
attempted-
provided with food, water, anything at the airport?
No, I mean, I asked them for water. They said there is a dispenser, you can walk there or something. But yeah, they just held us there for a very long time with obviously no access to food. Couldn't leave that part to be able to go to the terminal to purchase food items, etc.
Ms. Tonduk, were you forced to sign any documents? Were there any papers that they had asked you to sign? Any statement that was recorded by the Chinese officials?
No, in fact, I think they played it really safe because it was a pure case of harassment. I don't have any stamp of the Chinese, like, they didn't even stamp my passport. I mean, technically, probably you don't need it for a transfer, but I actually don't have any proof that I was in fact there because they just didn't stamp my passport with anything.
Right.
Yeah.
One final question, Ms. Tonduk. I do understand this must be a harrowing time for you, given the fact that you had to spend a considerable amount of time in a country that you may not have been familiar with, and the kind of behavior of the officials does come across as extremely shocking. As an Indian citizen, what is it that you would like to tell the world, the kind of belligerent behavior that you witness, and perhaps those who are from your state, because this is the kind of harassment that many have faced, but you've had the courage to speak for many Arunachalis here who've perhaps, canned their option of even going to China if at all they wanted to.
Exactly. I mean, see, I could just take it as a traveling experience and move on with it. But the fact that they questioned my citizenship, my country, the fact that they said that my birthplace is part of China and not India is quite alarming. And my purpose here is obviously to raise awareness so that none other Indians, and especially people from my state, Arunachal Pradesh, have to face the same. And obviously for the government of India to take this matter quite seriously, to understand and solve this, because obviously as a normal citizen, I don't even work for the government, and I am not even a resident of India for the past 14 years. My urge to the government is just to basically speak on these diplomatic matters with the Chinese government and solve it so that none other Indian has to be humiliated or questioned or mocked about their citizenship and be told that, your country's passport is invalid.
Ms. Tonduk, thank you very much for joining us and sharing your ordeal, speaking up for what you had to actually undergo. It requires a lot of courage. Thank you very much for sharing your story.
Bharat 1 Minute, brought to you by Canara Bank. Together we can.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi held a roadshow in Ayodhya ahead of the Dhwajarohan flag hoisting ceremony at the Ram Mandir temple in Ayodhya. The sacred saffron flag was hoisted atop the temple's 191-foot high shikhar. Now, numerous people welcomed the Prime Minister, holding tracklers in their hands. Parliamentary Affairs Minister Kiran Rijiju has called for an all-party meeting ahead of the winter session of Parliament. He announced that the session will begin on the 1st of December and will continue until December 19. President Murmu has also approved the dates for the session, and Parliament is said to have 15 sittings across the 19 days. The Bihar Pradesh Congress Committee has expelled 7 senior leaders for 6 years over repeated anti-party activities. A disciplinary review found continuous violations of party guidelines, and despite show-cause notices, their responses were unsatisfactory, leading to strict action to protect party's image and organizational discipline. As defence ties deepen between India and Morocco, Rear Admiral of Royal Moroccan Navy, Mohammed Tahin, visited India, receiving a guard of honour in the national capital. The visit is seen as a reiteration of the commitment of achieving common defence interests. And let's get you the story to get you a sense of what really has been in store.
Marking a significant milestone in bilateral defence journey with Morocco, Rear Admiral of the Moroccan Navy, Mohammed Tahin, received the Guard of Honour here in the national capital. He was received in Delhi by Indian Navy Chief Admiral Dinesh K. Tripathi. This defence visit comes trailing closely after Defence Minister Rajnath Singh's visit to Morocco in September. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh had undertaken a 2-day official visit to Morocco, marking the first ever official travel of an Indian Defence Minister to the North African nation. His visit was marked by defence MOUs between the two countries, paving way for future collaboration. India and Morocco now plan to work together in defence capacity building and joint military exercises in the future. With India's first ever overseas defence manufacturing facility inaugurated recently in Morocco, bilateral defence engagement deepens between the two nations. And now this visit of Rear Admiral Tahin reiterates the commitment of achieving common strategic interests.
And with that's a wrap in this edition, viewers, but we will be right back with the news from Assam as the Chief Minister of the state has introduced the Assam Prohibition of Polygamy Bill 2025. We'll get you the reactions also. And Shraddha Kapoor's brother Siddhant summoned by Mumbai police in the drug case linked to Dawood Ibrahim.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद ये तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा क्या स्वाद है? अरे मेरे राजा
इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
पहाड़ों में एक हाइकिंग स्टिक भी बन सकती है।
दादी के हाथों का जादू और खुशबू से महकता घर, माँ की मुस्कुराहट और खाने की सुगंध। MDH गरम मसाला,
क्योंकि हर रिश्ता है स्वाद से जुड़ा।
China and Japan are clashing verbally over Taiwan. Tensions between China and Japan have risen over Taiwan's security. Japan has signaled it may intervene in a potential conflict, viewing it as a threat to its own stability. China condemned this as meddling, issuing strong warnings and summoning diplomats. This conflict started when Japan's newly appointed Prime Minister, Sanae Takaichi, issued a direct warning to China during a session of the country's parliament. She stated that a conflict in the Taiwan Strait could represent a survival-threatening situation for Japan, implying that Tokyo might need to intervene militarily to protect its interests. This marked a bold escalation in Japan's stance on the Taiwan issue, signaling readiness to support Taiwan against potential Chinese action. Takaichi's comments, delivered amid rising regional tensions, prompted an immediate and sharp rebuke from Beijing, highlighting the fragile balance in East Asia and the risk of broader confrontation.
The remarks made by the
Today, no matter which part of the world you live in, India looms large on the global horizon. And that is true whether you are discussing energy or you are in technology. The transformation that is taking place in the world, India is part of that. Today, you're talking about being a $40 trillion economy. Today, no one is questioning that you will be the third largest economy. I've never heard anybody question that.
प्योर सूजी पास्ता उबालो मिलाओ और खाओ
8 मिनट में तैयार।
क्या टेस्ट है सबका राजा हार्डकोर मसाला केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे
मनाओ केसरी त्योहार विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल ये रंग दे ये खुशबू दे ये तीखा ये कम पड़े क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
So in the past, we would see most of the terrorists who would get arrested, they would be like the people who would be working at a very low level. But today we have seen the white collar suspect.
कश्मीर घाटी में डॉक्टर्स एक बहुत अल्टीमेट ड्रीम होता है वहां के लड़के लड़कियों का, उस बनने के बावजूद अगर आप रेडिकलाइज होकर अपने ही देशवासियों को मारने के लिए और अपने देश को तोड़ने के लिए तैयार हो सकते हैं, तो आप अंदाजा लगाइए किस तरह की रेडिकलाइजेशन हो रही है और इस फ्रंट पे हम क्या काम कर रहे हैं।
Investigators have identified Maulvi Irfan Wagha, also known as Imam Irfan, from Shopian in South Kashmir, as the mastermind who blended his dual identity, that of a preacher and healthcare worker, to influence and radicalize the educated youth.
The accusation against him is completely baseless. He had been there for 7 years, offering prayers, conducting religious classes, and teaching children at the religious center. He would come only occasionally.
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
A very good afternoon, viewers. You're watching live and breaking, and I am Rakshita Mishra with your Republic TV. We will be getting you a special story at the top of this hour. But first, a quick check of the headlines. Prime Minister Modi demolishes Ghulami mindset, says Ram was called fictional in the past, and one must learn from Lord Ram. And he also calls for the shedding of the slavery mindset. Mamata Banerjee issues a direct threat, says if she is attacked, then India will be jolted too. Himanta Biswa Sarma gives a big statement on Zubeen Garg death case in assembly. He says it was not a criminal conspiracy but plain murder. Shraddha Kapoor's brother Siddhant summoned by Mumbai police in drug case linked to Dawood Ibrahim. Selina Jaitley files domestic violence case against husband Peter Haag. An Indian citizen from Arunachal Pradesh harassed at Shanghai airport. She speaks to Republic and narrates her ordeal. All right, viewers, we are getting the statement coming in from the Ministry of Civil Aviation on the volcanic eruption in Ethiopia following 23rd of November volcanic eruption. The ash cloud, as per the Ministry of Civil Aviation, they say that Airlines and International Aviation Authorities of India, Airport Authority of India has issued a NOTAM. The AAI has issued the necessary NOTAM, and all affected flights have been kept informed. flight operations are going to be smooth, but few will be affected. There will be some of the flights rerouted, and they will be descending as per precaution. There is no cause for concern at this moment, as per the Civil Aviation Ministry, and they say that they are. It says that it is continuing to monitor the situation carefully. So that's the latest update we have right now. This is the AAI, that is Airports Authority of India, issuing the necessary nota in view of the eastward movement of the ash cloud due to the volcanic eruption in Ethiopia. And these are the states impacted, as you can see on the map: Delhi, Rajasthan, Haryana, Punjab. Of course, the entire northern belt is affected. Uttar Pradesh, Delhi, Punjab, Haryana, Rajasthan, Gujarat, the western side as well, northwest, Maharashtra. So these are the states that are likely to be impacted because of this eastern movement of the volcanic ash, the ash cloud as it's being called. So along with the Civil Aviation Ministry, the ATC, that is the Air Traffic Control, the Met Department, airlines and international aviation agencies, they are working in seamless coordination as per the statement by the Civil Aviation Ministry, viewers. So that's the breaking news we have right now. There will be some flights affected. That is the key point here that we are deriving from this statement. Not And viewers, on to the big story that only Republic TV is bringing to you and giving you a closer look and raising the questions. It's a big controversy over the Supreme Court order in the Sandesura case, which allows all criminal proceedings against the family, Sandesura family, to be quashed if they deposit 5,100 crore rupees before the court. The court, in its 21-page order, says that this amount will be full and final and kept in an interest-bearing account and later dispersed to lender banks. But the key debate here is around the point that despite the sweeping relief, it is the court's own caveat that this order is in the peculiar facts of this case and should not be treated as a precedent. Now, if the payment is made, the Sandesuras stand to walk free from CBI, ED, PMLA, SFIO, and FEOA, Income Tax and Black Money Act cases as well, essentially putting a complete end to the years of litigation. Is this now, viewers, a one-off settlement or the precedent in disguise that could let economic offenders buy freedom? Shavan Sen joins us live on the broadcast from the newsroom. Shavan, well, this is a big story that only Republic TV is shedding light on. And if you could just share the charges that have been against the Sandesuras and what is this settlement and what precedent is it really setting?
Well, in fact, the case was registered in the year 2017 by the Central Bureau of Investigation, and the accused in this particular case were Sterling Biotech Private Limited, along with that Nitin and Chetan Sandesara. In fact, this very case was thereafter taken by the Enforcement Directorate. The initial complaint was with regards to a loan that was received by Sterling Biotech Private Limited worth about 5,000 crore rupees. Now, as the investigation essentially progressed, and it turns out that they had taken several loans which had basically turned NPA, non-performing asset. It was roughly about 10,000 crore rupees that was declared as fraud by the bank at that point in time, following which the Enforcement Directorate had already attached assets that were about 506 movable assets that were spread across various countries, including Nigeria, where that was the last location to which they were basically traced to, Nitin as well as Chetan Sandesara, pictures of it which have also been accessed by Republic TV. Now, it's important to point out that while all of this actually was happening, there is a COC, which is a committee of creditors consisting of banks that was headed by Andhra Bank. They had basically started this entire process of the insolvency resolution process, which essentially means that this was an offer that was given about one-time settlement, which is also known as the OTS. That offer was essentially given. It turns out that this is exactly what was accepted by the court. In the Supreme Court allowed Sterling Biotech Private Limited and the Sandesara brothers to give a fraction of the amount back to the banks and settle this entire matter. What has essentially happened is that the civil liability against the Sandesara brothers have now been cleared, which effectively means that the criminal case that has been registered against the Sandesara brothers also goes away because of the one-time settlement that has been given, which essentially means that it is almost like a golden ticket that has been given to economic fugitives. Because remember, in all these bank fraud scams, starting from Vijay Mallya's case to Nirav Modi's case, and of course Mehul Choksi's case, in all of which the Enforcement Directorate has attached properties worth crores. And it turns out that after the properties have been attached, the Enforcement Directorate begins what is also known as the restitution process. That is, sending it back to the banks. That is basically monetizing of the attachment that has taken place. As far as Vijay Mallya's case is concerned, it is over and above the fraud case itself. Now, it is important to point out here that there is also a principal interest that is attached to the amount that they have defrauded the banks. And that is exactly what the Enforcement Directorate has basically tried to recover. In this particular case also, remember, because of this almost a clean chit that has been given to Sterling Biotech, you have the Enforcement Directorate as well as Central Bureau of Investigation unable to take forward this entire case. In fact, these are the case papers that we have basically got. And what I understand from the case papers, the Enforcement Directorate as well as the Central Bureau of Investigation, back in 2022, they were basically prevented to carry forward any of the investigation because the Honorable Supreme Court at that point in time had said that all proceedings must remain in abeyance till we consider the matter whereby the promoters had basically offered the deposit of 900 crore rupees with the court and the Supreme Court. It seems that even after that, the Enforcement Directorate was not party to these entire proceedings. They had basically filed an interlocutory application. Now, that matter was also kept in abeyance. Now, it has got a direct impact, if not to the restoration process, but of course, in the days to come, in the months to come, when the matter is going to come up in the court, particularly in the case of Vijay Mallya, Nirav Modi, Mehul Choksi, all of them essentially would have the option of actually indicating the fact that they are willing to go ahead with the OTS, which is a one-time settlement, allowing them to perhaps carry on with their entire proceedings or with their entire business by only making a fraction of the amount to be paid back to the banks. Our legal editor is also joining us on this broadcast rhythm. The case papers that we have essentially gone through indicates that the agencies were basically stopped from carrying out their entire investigation by the court. 2 years back, this entire case of Sandesara was put in abeyance because the Supreme Court had to take a final decision based on the offer that was given by the promoters of depositing about 900 crore rupees.
So what I'm seeing in this order, Shavan and Rakshita, that the court has noted on November 18 the amount in this FIR was 5,383 crore. It's recorded this one-time settlement amount is going to be given to these people. These companies was earlier of 3,826 crore. For the foreign guarantor companies was 2,935 crore. These people deposited 3,500 crore under various heads, leaving dues of 3,253 crores. Banks had recovered a certain amount is what the court noted in this. The Solicitor General of India, Tushar Mehta, placed before the court in sealed cover the proposal seeking 5,100 crore to close all issues. This is when they agreed to deposit this amount to end all proceedings in this writ petition. The court accepted the consensus, held that continuation of the criminal cases would not serve any purpose in the facts of the case. The Supreme Court held that all the aforementioned proceedings against the accused will stand quashed once the petitioners deposit this money by 17th of December with the registry of the Supreme Court, and it's directed them to verify all these details. We've seen that we have Solicitor General of India is also appearing for them. But I also want to go across now to senior advocate, one of the country's top lawyers, Mr. Siddharth Luthra, who's joining us live on the story. Sir, we've seen the peculiar facts of this case. If you could please make us understand, is this not going to be a bad precedent in the case of fugitive extradition, fugitives like Mehul Choksi and Vijay Mallya, who already escaped to the lap of luxury, are going to enjoy the benefits of this judgment of the top court?
So let's go back to the Bhopal gas tragedy. Initially, on payment of compensation, all criminal cases were quashed. But later on, the Supreme Court recalled its order. Come a few decades later, the Supreme Court had looked at these matters and said, we should allow cases to be quashed. That's about 2 decades later. And then about a decade ago, the Supreme Court again changed its view and said, cases of corruption should not be quashed. Having said that, the issue is, as this case, as in many other cases, the courts will try and balance equities, that is recovery of money, crimes of corruption, as also the collection of the dues of the banks. Now, in this case, as in other cases where similar settlements have been accepted, courts have acted in terms of the Supreme Court alone. The High Courts can't do it. The Supreme Court alone has acted in exercise of its inherent powers or its constitutional powers in what they call doing justice under Article 142. Now, that is a power which is not trammeled by any law, not controlled by any law necessarily. Of course, if there is a law, Article 142 may not be given recourse to. So this is something in an extraordinary case, in an extraordinary power has been done. Will it help other fugitives or other people? It might. Absolutely. You're absolutely right on that. Because people who have not submitted to the jurisdiction of Indian law may try and say, all right, we'll pay the money, please close the criminal case against us, which is not doable by ordinary courts, even the High Court, but only by the Supreme Court. So that is the legal position.
Mr. Luthra, you are one of the country's top lawyers. You specialize in criminal law. And over the last few decades that I've spoken with you, sir, we've understood from you that fugitives and others will try and derive benefit from this judgment. Like you said, it's possible they might. This is something they will try and use, whether it's Vijay Mallya. So how is it that the Supreme Court says it's not going to be a precedent? It's the law of the land now.
So no, I must tell you, there are many cases where the Supreme Court has exercised its powers under Article 152 and declared it not to be a precedent. That is to say, it is the power of the court to do what they call to find a balance, to do justice, or to find a solution, which will not apply to other cases. This has been the principle which has been applied. I remember way back in the 80s, there were cases where there were attempt to murder cases which were settled by the Supreme Court, Excise 142, and the same line came, it will not be treated as a precedent. Even sometimes in bail cases, where courts do grant bail to certain offenders accused perhaps of what we call grave crimes, they have indicated that that order will not be precedent. That is to say, no other litigant can take advantage of that. So this is a mechanism that the court uses to settle certain matters while not settling the position of law. However, in practice, and as you rightly noted, in practice what happens is that time and again litigants will make a chance using this judgment to say, if you could do it in one case, our facts resemble the facts of the Sandesra case, Sterling Biotech, why can't you do it in our case? So that is something which does happen as a matter of practice, and it adds to the docket of the court.
Yes. And, sir, we've been discussing this case in a first of its kind order to drop criminal proceedings in a multi-crore bank fraud after the accused agreed to pay back the money. We've seen so many cases like this. I know I'm reiterating the same point, but how is it when the ED...
It's been done. Rhythm. It's been done in a number of matters. As I said, the law initially allowed for it. Then a different view was taken by the Supreme Court. Now, whenever they do it, they orderly will use the words not to be treated as a precedent. That is limited to that particular case and no others. So, on a case-by-case basis, Article 142 powers are exercised in such matters. I mean, it is exercised in a variety. This is a case of financial fraud. There are cases, not of financial fraud, but there are cases, let's say, of matrimonial matters where there are myriad criminal cases and taxation issues and other disputes. Courts have used powers under 142 even in such cases, or where there are family disputes, or where there were large commercial disputes. So this exercise of 142 power has gained some level of acceptance, not only acceptance, I will say popularity with the court, to try and find solutions where the law does not permit such a solution ordinarily.
Mr. Luthra, yes, but is this pragmatic move of the Supreme Court prioritizing the recovery of public funds over prolonged litigation going to be seen as such? Because the court said these are peculiar facts. Is this not going to be seen as a sweetheart deal for another fraud crony?
So, it's a matter of perspective. The fact is that there is a financial loss to the banks. The fact is that there are allegations of fraud. But the fact is, the only way this matter could be resolved with on a one-stop, the OTS could be accepted, would be if the court had intervened. And frankly, don't forget, don't put everything in the lap of the court. You're doing this. I mean, that's something which I find is almost a swan song of your comments through this conversation. Remember, it is the government which came out with a sealed cover OTS proposal. So if the government is willing to do it, the court has only put an imprimatur on what the government was willing to do as an OTS.
Yes, yes. It's a one-time settlement by the government that also needs to be put forward. You're absolutely right. It's in a sealed cover that the Solicitor General had given it also. This is also something that needs to be questioned since the ED's case was going on and the facts of the case are clear. Also for the government then, I would just say when there is so much that needs to be seen, Mr. Luthra, is a one-time settlement something that should be done? Almost like giving a clean chit to a 5,000 crore loan defaulter fugitive.
So there you need to ask the two regulators, the Ministry of Finance and the RBI, if they believed that the OTS was possible, it would have been in terms of their rules and regulations. Otherwise, they would not agree to an OTS. The fact is the RBI has guidelines into when OTS cannot be done. And normally, OTSs do not cover criminal cases. Normally, that is to my recollection, the guidelines of the RBI. But in this case, obviously, a special decision has been taken at the level of the government, the Ministry of Finance, as also the RBI, and that has led to the court accepting that OTS proposal, getting the party to pay and close the matter. We should not shift the focus on the court, but also understand that it is two parties who have come together asking the court that because of this settlement, please do away with other matters. And it is the parties that have settled, not the court. The court has just accepted that settlement and given consequential directions.
Yes. Mr. Luthra, I agree with you and thank you for clarifying that and thank you for giving us your precious time. This is something we'll actually be debating and we'd like to have you back on it. We continue to stay with the story. Thank you for your time, Mr. Luthra.
Always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure.
Right, thank you so much, Rhythm and Mr. Luthra and Shavan. This is the big story that we are tracking and also debating tonight at 9 p.m. With Arnab Goswami debating this golden ticket for economic fugitives, the Sandesra settlement by the Supreme Court. Viewers, in the meantime, we shift our focus to the other breaking news that we have right now. All right, the Principal Secretary to the Prime Minister has chaired a high-level meeting to tackle Delhi's alarming air pollution, highlighting that 37% of the vehicles on the road are outdated. So they have put in the category that they are BS1 to BS3 models. And the meeting urged the states to accelerate the adoption of electric vehicles, expand the charging networks and enforce stricter emission norms. And with Delhi's air quality index crossing 350, the focus is on reducing the vehicular pollution, major contributor to the city's poor air quality. The government aims to promote electric mobility with plans to review and revise their EV policies, electric vehicles, and develop a unified portal for monitoring them. So it's a special focus on electric vehicles. The EVs are in focus given the situation, the dipping air quality. And Executive Editor Ashwarya Kapoor joins us live on the broadcast for more. Ashwarya, well, it's an important meeting that is going on right now. Tell us more details, please. What has been decided?
But at this point of time, we are being told that in this meeting, it has also been discussed that after a sudden volcanic burst in Ethiopia, it is expected that the ash cloud will come in and around the Indian geographical region as well, and that has also been discussed. Apart from that, specifically the air quality and the air pollution situation in the national capital was of the prime concern. Also, what we are being told by our sources that government understands that between BS1 and BS3, there are around 37% out of the total vehicles on road at this very point of time, the in and out complete number of vehicles, 37% of them are BS1 and BS3. Government is having a serious contemplation whether they should allow any more BS1 and BS3 vehicles in the geographical region of the national capital or not. This includes the national capital region, that is the suburban cities of Gurgaon, Faridabad, Noida, Greater Noida, Ghaziabad, all of this included. Simultaneously, we are also being told that a special push on electronic vehicles is being done. We are being told that the government is going to reach out with the concerned departments and the ministries as well for a certain and a deliberate push onto the sale of electric vehicles, if certain subsidy has to be given or not. Earlier we saw that certain states, especially that of Uttar Pradesh and Haryana, those are both neighboring states of the national capital, gave a complete RTO, that is a road tax exemption to electrics and hybrid vehicles. That has been taken away from November of this month. So will that continue? All of this is being discussed and the meeting is happening within the Prime Minister's office. Back to you, Indra.
Many thanks, Ashwarya Kapoor, for joining us with that important information that is coming in from the national capital with the air pollution in focus. And of course, now, just adding to the miseries is the ash cloud from Ethiopia. And in fact, viewers, this ash from Ethiopia's long-dormant Haile Gobi volcano, which erupted for the first time in more than 12,000 years, has reached India and is sparking concerns over the already alarming AQI in the north. And that's why this meeting is happening right now. So what happened was that volcano erupted on Sunday, sending a massive ash cloud across the Red Sea and towards South Asia. However, the possible impact of the ash on Delhi is still not known as to how far-reaching effects it could have. For that, we have compiled this report for you to get more of an understanding.
You see, that's a Haile Gobi. It is not. There are not frequently it erupts. Huge plume of this ash, which has been traveling also from the North Ethiopian region, it has crossed Red Sea, it has moved Yemen and Oman coast, and after that it is heading for northwestern parts of India. This volcanic ash, they have a very, very small particle. It includes ash particles, it includes even sulfur dioxide. These are harmful chemical particles. It could having possibly particles of glass and some rocks also. When they are in the lower levels, obviously the coupled effect of the AQI, these pollution particles, along with the volcanic ash, it does aggravate the situation as such. AQI, those particles, actually, that is in the lower levels of the atmosphere. That source is different. AQI, generally, it is because of the low temperature, stable layers closer to the earth, and that is how it doesn't move anywhere. There's no churning of that, and they stick very close to the ground. If it was only AQI, it doesn't go beyond 5,000 feet in height, okay, from the Earth's surface. Whereas the volcanic ash, obviously, it is in the higher levels, above 25,000, 30,000 feet or so. But then the combined effect, yes, it doesn't give a good feel to have volcanic ash also over our region, and the AQI also in the severe category at some places, rather most places over Northeast India. And slowly what happens is, since these ash particles, they are very light, they find it difficult to descend to lower levels, And on top of that, since the winds are very strong, they'll be carried away and away. Possibly it may go over to the foothills of Punjab, Haryana, and then even West Uttar Pradesh. It will spread also. But ultimately, they have a tendency to settle down. It may take time. It is a time-consuming process, but ultimately, while in the air also, they are harmful. They reduce the visibility, haziness increasing, aviation is affected. And when they settle down, they try to come down. They will surely come down, may take some time. And when they are in the lower levels, obviously the coupled effect of the AQI, these pollution particles, along with the volcanic ash, it does aggravate the situation as such.
Pure Shahi Paneer Masala. Delicious, healthy, every day.
सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला
China and Japan are clashing verbally over Taiwan. Tensions between China and Japan have risen over Taiwan's security. Japan has signaled it may intervene in a potential conflict, viewing it as a threat to its own stability. China condemned this as meddling, issuing strong warnings and summoning diplomats. This conflict started when Japan's newly appointed Prime Minister, Sanae Takaichi, issued a direct warning to China during a session of the country's parliament. She stated that a conflict in the Taiwan Strait could represent a survival-threatening situation for Japan, implying that Tokyo might need to intervene militarily to protect its interests. This marked a bold escalation in Japan's stance on the Taiwan issue, signaling readiness to support Taiwan against potential Chinese action. Takaichi's comments, delivered amid rising regional tensions, prompted an immediate and sharp rebuke from Beijing, highlighting the fragile balance in East Asia and the risk of broader confrontation.
The remarks made by the Japanese leader on Taiwan constitute an interference in China's internal affairs and a serious violation of the One China principle and the basic norms governing international relations. Such words are extremely irresponsible and dangerous in nature and have caused very negative impact.
Taiwan is an island of 23 million people, situated about 100 miles off China's.
Hi, this is Rajan Navani, Chairman and MD of the Jetline Group. Excited to be a part of the India Economic Summit being hosted by Republic Business, happening on 28th November at the Republic headquarters in Noida. See you at the summit.
MDH की देगी मीरज
देगी मिर्च का तड़का अंग अंग फड़का
MDH की देगी मीरज
केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ रे दिल झूमे देखो मतवारा हुआ रे केसरिया से मन जोगी हुआ
हर पल मनाओ केसरी त्योहार विमल बोलो जुबान केसरी
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा क्या स्वाद है। अरे मेरे राजा मसाला।
So in the past, we would see most of the terrorists who would get arrested, they would be like the people who would be working at a very low level. But today we have seen the white-collar suspect.
कश्मीर घाटी में डॉक्टर्स एक बहुत अल्टीमेट ड्रीम होता है वहां के लड़के लड़कियों का। उस बनने के बावजूद अगर आप रेडिकलाइज होकर अपने ही देशवासियों को मारने के लिए और अपने देश को तोड़ने के लिए तैयार हो सकते हैं तो आप अंदाजा लगाइए किस तरह की रेडिकलाइजेशन हो रही है और इस फ्रंट पे हम क्या काम कर रहे हैं.
Hello viewers, a very, very good evening. We are live breaking on Shivangi Shukla, getting you the latest coming in. We have a lot lined up for you in this show, getting you top experts on all our developing stories we're tracking right now. But the headlines first, let's get started. Top headlines we're tracking right now. Prime Minister Modi demolishes Gulami mindset and says Ram was ignored earlier. Mamata issues a direct threat, says if she is attacked, then India will be jolted too. Himanta Sarma gives a big statement on Zubeen death case in assembly. He says it was not criminal conspiracy but plain murder. Shraddha Kapoor's brother has been summoned by Mumbai police in drug cases linked to Dawood. Serena Jaitley files domestic violence case against husband Peter Hag. Indian citizen from Arunachal Pradesh harassed at Shanghai airport. She speaks to Republic and narrates her ordeal. Viewers, let's start with the top story that we are tracking for you. A volcano erupted in northern Ethiopia for the first time in nearly 12,000 years on Sunday, with winds moving at a speed of 100 to 120 kilometers per hour, carrying the ash plumes to many countries, including India. Now, this volcano is in the Afar region of Ethiopia, erupted on Sunday morning, and the ash clouds entered Delhi. Viewers, we have put that map for you. Delhi is already struggling with toxic air. And but this development has also led to flights being affected, flight operations being affected. So we have put out those pictures for you, viewers. Ash cloud is going to be expected to pass over India. So just showing you these pictures that is coming in. These states are affected: Rajasthan, Gujarat, Haryana, Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, Northwest Maharashtra. All these states have been affected so far because of the movement of the ash clouds over India. And these ash clouds have been detected in the middle and upper tropospheric levels based on satellite observations. And we see the IMD has already issued an warning for these areas where the clouds have crossed. Okay, let's go straight across to Arya Ghosh, aviation expert, is joining us. Thank you for joining us here, Arya Ghosh, on Republic TV. And we have put out those images for our viewers. We put out some satellite images, and we are also showing some areas and some states which are affected. Just to have a look at this, what we are showing to our viewers, and how do you think that ash cloud will move over India now, and how much time will it take for the ash cloud to leave the Indian skies?
First of all, thank you for having here and having me here. And the ash clouds, as much reported, is traveling at around a speed of 120 to 130 kmph, 130 kilometers per hour. So if that took it took about 35 hours, I guess, to reach India, to reach North India, in fact Delhi. And because the place Afar, where the volcano erupted, the Devi, I guess, the volcano. So that is located around 4,005 kilometers away from New Delhi, and around 4,000 kilometers from Mumbai, western coast. So this is going to, be there as long as it takes. As long as the total amount of the volcanic ash is not gone through. Basically not covered the entire India, and then goes past India. So it is at this point in time, it would be difficult to assume as to what time would it leave India. But at this point in time, we are facing a critical problem as far as air traffic is concerned, because this volcanic ash, which is made of minerals and then volcanic glass and rock fragments, is basically these are highly aggressive in nature and works as a sand dust.
Yes.
All right,
thank you for joining us there. That was our guest who was live with us. This was Mr. Ghosh, who is a satellite expert. Thank you for joining us there on this developing story. Let's move ahead to some of the other stories tracking viewers. Next is Bharat in 1 minute. Let's get started.
Bharat 1 Minute, brought to you by Canara Bank. Together we can.
The Lokayukta conducted massive raids simultaneously across Karnataka early this morning, targeting officials accused of corruption. Search operations were carried out in Bengaluru, Mysore, Mandya and many other districts. Key officials raided included 10 officers of government, including Mandya Municipality CEO Puttu Swami C's residence, or APMC's Assistant Director Prabhu residence as well. The portals of Sri Badrinath Dham will be closed for the winter today. The temple has been decorated with 12 quintals of marigold flowers. The process of closing the gates will begin at 1 p.m. A Sri Badrinath Kedarnath Temple Committee has also officially completed all preparations for the ceremonial closure. A large number of devotees have arrived at the shrine for this significant occasion, and over 5,000 devotees are expected to witness the closing of the temple gates. India awoke to a thick layer of smog blanketing cities today, with a consequent dip in temperatures and AQI. From Jammu and Kashmir and Delhi to Mumbai and even Chennai, cities seem to be enveloped by smog. All right, getting you some updates coming in. After that November volcanic eruption, 23rd November eruption in Ethiopia and the eastward movement of the ash cloud, the Ministry of Civil Aviation, along with ATC, IMD, airlines, international aviation agencies, ensuring seamless coordination. AAI has issued the necessary NOTAM, and all affected flights have been kept informed. Operations across India remain smooth, with only a few flights rerouted or descended as a precaution. There is no cause for concern, viewers, at this moment. We continue to monitor the situation closely and will provide timely updates to ensure passenger safety. So this is what's happening right now. Ministry of Civil Aviation saying that there's no need for any kind of panic. Airport authorities of India have issued a NOTAM, and this is the big update we're tracking for you on Republic TV. This is the latest update that we are seeing. The latest coming in, viewers, we see that the Ministry of Civil Aviation, along with the ATC, IMD, airlines and international aviation agencies, ensuring seamless coordination. Now we see the AAI has issued the NOTAM, and all affected flights have been kept informed. Operations across India remain smooth, with only a few flights rerouted or descended as a precaution. There is no cause for the concern at this moment. So this is what we are getting for you right now. The latest is that there's no cause of concern after the volcanic eruption and the ash cloud, which has now reached the Indian skies. So back-to-back updates coming in. Flight operations smooth. Few have been affected. This is the big update we're getting for you right now, because already the DGC has issued advisories urging airlines to strictly steer off affected altitudes and regions to ensure flight safety, as volcanic ash can harm aircraft engines due to its abrasive glass-like particles that melt at high temperatures. So flight operations smooth. Only few flights have been affected. The entire focus, Harsha joining us, the entire focus is, of course, like the Ministry of Civil Aviation is saying, the entire focus is right now passenger safety. Yes, Harsha, over to you.
Yes, Shivang, you rightly pointed out that right now the entire focus is on the passenger safety because it is of the utmost importance as the ash plumes could clearly be seen, with full speed moving towards India and its border. And that is the reason why the safety protocols have been initiated. And also there have been massive cancellation of the several flights as well. Like we have seen Air India, Indigo, all have cancelled almost 9 to 10 flights yesterday and today since morning. More than 10 to 12 flights have been cancelled, which are in that particular airspace. And today notam has also been issued by Airport Authority of India for all the airlines and the aviation industry to not use that particular airspace because the airspace with which the volcanic eruption is moving speedily. That's a matter of concern. In fact, there has been a separate protocol which has been issued for Boeing and Airbus aircrafts of all the airlines. It has been clearly stated that if Boeing aircraft is flying through any time through that airspace and majorly through the Europe time, then the air filters have to be replaced. The body of the aircraft needs a replacement according to the ads news until and unless the Boeing aircraft will not go in that particular airspace. And that is the reason Airbus and Boeing, most of the Boeings and Airbus have been, either diverted or either cancelled. And that is the reason why this notam has been issued, and Airport Authority of India and regulatory body, along with the Ministry of Civil Aviation, is continuously monitoring exactly what is going on, with which speed this volcanic eruption ash plumes are moving towards India, and for how long this situation will continue to grow and continue to move towards India. And also the ash clouds, how much dent can they cause to the aircraft body? Everything is being monitored heavily, and that is the reason why several flights have been cancelled and notam has been issued. Back to you.
Well, thank you for getting us all those details, Harsha. I will be coming back to you for more on this developing story. Let's move on, viewers. Next is Bharat in 1 minute. We'll get you all that is making news across the nation. Let's get started.
Bharat 1 minute, brought to you by Canara Bank. Together we can.
Top stories coming in right now on Bharat in 1 minute. Prime Minister Modi has held a roadshow in Ayodhya, and this is ahead of the flag hoisting ceremony at the Ram Mandir Temple. The sacred saffron flag was hoisted at the temple's 191-foot high shikhar. Numerous people welcomed the Prime Minister holding tricolours in their hands. Parliamentary Affairs Minister Kiren Rijiju has called for an all-party meeting ahead of the winter session of Parliament. He has announced that the session will begin on December 1st. It will continue until December 19th. President Draupadi Murmu has also approved the dates for the session, and Parliament is set to have 15 sittings across 19 days. The Bihar Pradesh Congress Committee has expelled 7 senior leaders for 6 years over repeated anti-party activities. And disciplinary review found continuous violations of party guidelines. Despite show-cause notices, their response were unsatisfactory, leading to strict action to protect the party's image and organizational discipline.
भगवान राम अपने आप में एक वैल्यू सिस्टम है। ओरछा के राजा राम से लेकर रामेश्वरम के भक्त राम तक और शबरी के प्रभु राम से लेकर मिथिला के पाहुन राम जी तक, भारत के हर घर में, हर भारतीय के मन में और भारतवर्ष के हर कण कण में राम है। जय श्री राम, जय श्री राम, जय श्री राम।
Ayodhya has witnessed a grand historic celebration as Prime Minister Modi hoisted the saffron flag atop the Ram temple, marking its formal completion. The milestone comes 22 months after he presided over the consecration of the Ram Lalla idol, 10 by 20 feet flag featuring sun, Om and the sacred tree symbolizes Lord Ram's brilliance and valor. The ceremony took place on Vivah Panchami, which is a very, very auspicious day. Let's go ahead and hear what Prime Minister Modi had said.
हमारे यहाँ भगवान बसवन्ना उनके अनुभव मंटपा की जानकारी भी सीमित रखी गई। अनुभव मंटपा यानी जहां सामाजिक, धार्मिक और आर्थिक विषयों पर सार्वजनिक बहस होती थी, जहां सामूहिक सहमति से निर्णय लिए जाते थे, लेकिन गुलामी की मानसिकता के कारण इस भारत की कितनी ही पीढ़ियों को इस जानकारी से भी वंचित रखा गया। साथियों, हमारी व्यवस्था के हर कोने में गुलामी की इस मानसिकता ने डेरा डाला हुआ था। अब याद करिए, भारतीय नौसेना का ध्वज सदियों तक उस ध्वज पर ऐसे प्रतीक बने रहे जिनका हमारी सभ्यता, हमारी शक्ति, हमारी विरासत से कोई संबंध नहीं था। अब हमने नौसेना के ध्वज से गुलामी के हर प्रतीक को हटाया है। हमने छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज की विरासत को स्थापित किया है। और ये सिर्फ एक डिजाइन में बदलाव नहीं हुआ, ये मानसिकता बदलने का क्षण था। ये वो घोषणा थी कि भारत अब अपनी शक्ति अपने प्रतीकों से परिभाषित करेगा, न कि किसी और की विरासत से। और साथियों, यही परिवर्तन आज अयोध्या में भी दिख रहा है। साथियों, ये गुलामी की मानसिकता ही है जिसने इतने वर्षों तक रामत्व को नकारा है। भगवान राम अपने आप में एक वैल्यू सिस्टम है। ओरछा के राजा राम से लेकर रामेश्वरम के भक्त राम तक और शबरी के प्रभु राम से लेकर मिथिला के पाहुन राम जी तक भारत के हर घर में, हर भारतीय के मन में और भारतवर्ष के हर कण कण में राम है। लेकिन गुलामी की मानसिकता इतनी हावी हो गई कि प्रभु राम को भी काल्पनिक घोषित किया जाने लगा। साथियों, अगर हम ठान लें अगले 10 साल में मानसिक गुलामी से पूरी तरह मुक्ति पा लेंगे, और तब जाकर के ऐसी ज्वाला प्रज्वलित होगी, ऐसा आत्मविश्वास बढ़ेगा कि 2047 तक विकसित भारत का सपना पूरा होने से भारत को कोई रोक नहीं पाएगा। हमारे यहां भगवान बसवन्ना उनके अनुभव मंटपा की जानकारी भी सीमित रखी गई। अनुभव मंटपा यानी जहां सामाजिक, धार्मिक और आर्थिक विषयों पर सार्वजनिक बहस होती थी, जहां सामूहिक सहमति से निर्णय लिए जाते थे, लेकिन गुलामी की मानसिकता के कारण इस भारत की कितनी ही पीढ़ियों को इस जानकारी से भी वंचित रखा गया। साथियों, हमारी व्यवस्था के हर कोने में गुलामी की इस मानसिकता ने डेरा डाला हुआ था। अब याद करिए, भारतीय नौसेना का ध्वज सदियों तक उस ध्वज पर ऐसे प्रतीक बने रहे जिनका हमारी सभ्यता, हमारी शक्ति, हमारी विरासत से कोई संबंध नहीं था। अब हमने नौसेना के ध्वज से गुलामी के हर प्रतीक को हटाया है। हमने छत्रपति शिवाजी महाराज की विरासत को स्थापित किया है। और ये सिर्फ एक डिजाइन में बदलाव नहीं हुआ, ये मानसिकता बदलने का क्षण था। ये वो घोषणा थी कि भारत अब अपनी शक्ति अपने प्रतीकों से परिभाषित करेगा, न कि किसी और की विरासत से। और साथियों, यही परिवर्तन आज अयोध्या में भी दिख रहा है। साथियों, ये गुलामी की मानसिकता ही है जिसने इतने वर्षों तक रामत्व को नकारा है। भगवान राम अपने आप में एक वैल्यू सिस्टम है। ओरछा के राजा राम से लेकर रामेश्वरम के भक्त राम तक और शबरी के प्रभु राम से लेकर मिथिला के पाहुन राम जी तक, भारत के हर घर में, हर भारतीय के मन में और भारतवर्ष के हर कण कण में राम है। लेकिन गुलामी की मानसिकता इतनी हावी हो गई कि प्रभु राम को भी काल्पनिक घोषित किया जाने लगा।
And viewers, meanwhile, Republic also spoke to Kashyap Mewada from Ahmedabad. They have made the auspicious Dharma Dhwaj. Let's listen in.
कश्यप जी, आप हमें ये बताइए कि आपने ये जो काम किया है, आपके परिवार को, आपकी पीढ़ी को ये जो काम मिला, तो इस ध्वजा के बारे में, उसके महत्व के बारे में हमें बताइए।
जय श्री राम। ध्वजा के बारे में बताएं तो 3 लेयर फैब्रिक में बना है और उसमें सैटिन रेशमी वर्क किया हुआ है। फिर उसमें ऊपर गोल्डन एम्ब्रॉयडरी वर्क किया है। फिर इसके ऊपर कल्प वृक्ष, कोविदार वृक्ष बोलते हैं इसको। फिर उसके ऊपर सूर्यनारायण भगवान, ओम, सब हम लोगों ने किया हुआ है।
मतलब 3 सिंबल्स हैं। एक तो वृक्ष है जो इक्ष्वाकु परिवार का राज वृक्ष कहा जाता है, ओम है जो यूनिवर्सल साउंड जिसे हम कहते हैं, और तीसरा सूर्य नारायण भगवान की प्रतिकृति है। तो क्या इम्पोर्टेंस है इसके रंग, इसके रूप और जो बॉर्डर्स बनाई गई है, सब के बारे में हमें बताइए।
कोविदार वृक्ष का इम्पोर्टेंस ये है कि वो राम भगवान के टाइम का है और सूर्यनारायण भगवान जो राम का प्रतीक है, श्री राम भगवान का, और ओम भी उनका प्रतीक है। तो उसका जो बॉर्डर है वो भी हम लोगों ने गोल्डन एम्ब्रॉयडरी करके किया हुआ है पूरा।
And viewers, Congress leader Imran Masood has sparked controversy by suggesting that Ayodhya's local MP Dalit was deliberately not invited to the Ram Mandir flag hoisting ceremony. Masood questioned why the local MP was not given the honor of participating in the event, implying that the omission might be due to their Dalit background.
देखिए, आस्था जो है वो व्यक्तिगत मामला होता है और संविधान ने सबको अपनी आस्था के लिए स्वतंत्रता दी है कि लोग अपनी आस्था का पालन करें, तो इसमें कोई वो नहीं है। हो सकता है कि उनको विचारों को इसलिए ना बुलाया गया हो कि वो दलित हैं, वरना प्रधानमंत्री के कार्यक्रम में सबसे पहला नहीं होता तो वहाँ के लोकल सांसद को जाना चाहिए था। हो सकता है कि ये सोच रही हो कि वो दलित व्यक्ति है, उसको ना ले के जाएं साथ। नहीं तो विपक्ष जब जाना होगा, जिसको जो जाने का वो है आस्था के अंदर, आप ज़बरदस्ती तो नहीं कर सकते, अपने हिसाब से जाएगा जिसको जब जाना है।
देखिए, हमारे प्रधानमंत्री कोई अवसर नहीं छोड़ते हैं पब्लिसिटी का, और ये तो एक अच्छा मौका था, जबकि ये काम किसी धर्म गुरु को देना चाहिए था, लेकिन ये काम भी वो स्वयं कर रहे हैं। पहले भी उन्होंने शिलान्यास भी किया, उद्घाटन भी किया, तो वो हर ऐसा अवसर का फ़ायदा उठाना चाहते हैं जिससे उनको राजनीतिक फ़ायदा हो। कोई धर्म से प्रभावित होकर या श्रद्धा से उन्होंने ये काम किया, ऐसा नहीं है। वो सिर्फ इसका राजनीतिक लाभ उठाने के लिए ऐसा काम किया है।
And viewers, all we have for now, but do not go anywhere. Coming up next, we will go live and breaking once more. The big story tracking right now is coming in where Shraddha Kapoor's brother Siddhant has been summoned by Mumbai police and drug case linked to Dawood. Selina Jaitley files domestic violence case against husband Peter Haag. Stay tuned.
थोड़े में ज्यादा स्वाद, यही तो है इसकी खास बात। वाओ मामा, क्या स्वाद है। अरे मेरे राजा, मसाला
सीक्रेट रेसिपी MDH का जीरा सिप जल जीरा मसाला। सिप सिप जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप MDH का जल जीरा सिप।
China and Japan are clashing verbally over Taiwan. Tensions between China and Japan have risen over Taiwan's security. Japan has signaled it may intervene in a potential conflict, viewing it as a threat to its own stability. China condemned this as meddling, issuing strong warnings and summoning diplomats. This conflict started when Japan's newly appointed Prime Minister, Sanae Takaichi, issued a direct warning to China during a session of the country's parliament. She stated that a conflict in the Taiwan Strait could represent a survival-threatening situation for Japan, implying that Tokyo might need to intervene militarily to protect its interests. This marked a bold escalation in Japan's stance on the Taiwan issue, signaling readiness to support Taiwan against potential Chinese action. Takaichi's comments, delivered amid rising regional tensions, prompted an immediate and sharp rebuke from Beijing, highlighting the fragile balance in East Asia and the risk of broader confrontation.
The remarks made by the Japanese leader on Taiwan constitute an interference in China's internal affairs and a serious violation of the...
Hi, I'm Saurabh Mukherjee of Marcellus Investment Managers. I'm the Chief Investment Officer at the firm, and I'm really looking forward to Republic Business's India Economic Summit on 28th November. I hope to see you there.
MDH की हल्दी मिर्ची धनिया करे कमाल, ये रंग दे, ये खुशबू दे, ये तीखा, ये कम पड़े, क्या निराला MDH मसाला।
इसको घर पे लगाओगे तो शादी का तो पता नहीं, पर घर पक्का नहीं टूटेगा।
रुंगटा नहीं तो घर स्ट्रॉन्ग नहीं। रुंगटा स्टील TMT बार एकदम सॉलिड।
पहाड़ों में एक हाइकिंग स्टिक भी बन सकती है।
प्योर शाही पनीर मसाला, डिलीशियस, हेल्दी, एवरीडे।
So in the past, we would see most of the terrorists who would get arrested, they would be like the people who would be working at a very low level. But today we have seen the white collar suspect.
कश्मीर घाटी में डॉक्टर्स एक बहुत अल्टीमेट ड्रीम होता है वहां के लड़के लड़कियों का। उस बनने के बावजूद अगर आप रेडिकलाइज होकर अपने ही देशवासियों को मारने के लिए और अपने देश को तोड़ने के लिए तैयार हो सकते हैं, तो आप अंदाजा लगाइए किस तरह की रेडिकलाइजेशन हो रही है और इस फ्रंट पे हम क्या काम कर रहे हैं।
Investigators have identified Maulvi Irfan Wagha, also known as Imam Irfan, from Shopian in South Kashmir, and his dual identity, that of a preacher and healthcare worker, to influence and radicalize the educated youth.
The accusation against him is completely baseless. He had been there for 7 years, offering prayers, conducting religious classes, and teaching children at the religious center. He would come only occasionally.
We had no idea about the allegations against him, but we don't believe them. He is a good person. We don't know anything else.
According to the ongoing investigation, Maulvi used his access at GMC Srinagar and his sermons in...
From Asia's largest news headquarters, setting the agenda for Bharat. You're watching Republic.
Prime Minister Modi demolishes Gulami mindset and says Ram was ignored earlier. Mamata issues a direct threat, says if she is attacked, then India will be jolted too. Himanta Sharma gives a big statement on Zubeen death case in assembly. He says it was not criminal conspiracy but plain murder case. Shraddha Kapoor's brother Siddhant summoned by Mumbai police in drug case linked to Dawood. Sarina Jaitley files domestic violence case against her husband, Peter Hag. Indian citizen from Arunachal Pradesh harassed at Shanghai airport. She speaks to Republic and narrates her ordeal. China was questioned on the harassment of the Indian citizen from Arunachal. They say that China does not acknowledge Arunachal set up by India. This is what we see right now. China questioned on harassment of the Indian citizen. India has issued a strong response to China after a woman from Arunachal Pradesh was harassed and stopped by Chinese immigration officials at the Shanghai airport. And this woman was mocked. So this is what I see right now. Back-to-back updates coming in on Republic TV. There is a huge update in terms of what is happening in the story. So the latest is that China has been questioned. I repeat, China has been questioned on the harassment of this Indian citizen from Arunachal. They say that China does not acknowledge Arunachal set up by India. Let's go ahead and play out the reactions.
中方对此有何评论？
First of all, Zhangnan is China's territory. China never acknowledges the so-called Arunachal Pradesh illegally set up by India. As for the individual case you mentioned, we've learned that during the whole process, China's border inspection authorities have gone through the whole process in accordance with laws and regulations and had just enforcement and fully protected the lawful rights and interests of the person concerned. There's no so-called compulsory measures, detainment or harassment. The airlines also provided a place for rest, drinking and food for the person concerned. For specifics, I'd refer you to competent authorities.
All right, let's go to Chandrakala. Chandrakala is joining us live. Chandrakala, China is saying we do not acknowledge Arunachal, which was set up by India. And this is after China was questioned on the harassment of the Indian citizen. It's a very deplorable act by China. What's the latest coming in?
Well, in fact, a day after India has sent a strong demarche with the Chinese side as far as lady from Arunachal was harassed at the Shanghai airport. Now, what we are learning is that the Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson has put out a statement. Of course, she is now refuting the claims, refuting the allegations regarding. She has clearly mentioned that there was no such compulsory measures determined or harassment. The airlines also provided for the person concerned. For specific, she actually referred to competence authority. Now, the fact that such incident is taking place at a time when both the sides are actually, on the verge of resetting their ties between India and China, of course, and we have seen a very, very clear. Yesterday, we have seen sources from the Ministry of External Affairs putting out a strong statement regarding the harassment on this Arunachal lady. There were 4 pointers being made, clearly mentioned that, at a time when both sides are working on restoring normalcy, such actions by the Chinese side introduce unnecessary obstruction to the process. It has also mentioned that it was stressed that the passenger had been detained on litigious ground. Arunachal Pradesh is In fact, India has once again reiterated that Arunachal Pradesh is definitely a part of Indian territory and its residents are perfectly entitled to hold and travel with Indian passports. It has also been highlighted clearly to the Chinese side that, these actions by the Chinese authorities are in...
Chandrakala, I'll be coming back to Chandrakala. An Indian woman from Arunachal Pradesh was detained for 18 hours at Shanghai airport when transiting to Japan. Pema Wang Thongdok, who holds an Indian passport, was told her document was invalid because her birthplace is listed as Arunachal Pradesh, which Chinese officials claim is part of China. Now, despite having a valid Japanese visa, she was barred from boarding her connecting flight and had her passport confiscated. Thongdok eventually contacted the Indian consulate in Shanghai, which helped her secure release and arrange alternative travel. She has now spoken to my colleague Shawan Sen on the matter. Let's listen in.
Pema Thongdok is an Indian citizen born in the state of Arunachal Pradesh. What has happened in the last few hours is something shocking to say the least. Prema was on her way to China when she was stopped for almost 18 hours. She lodged a strong protest. India has also responded. Joining us on this special broadcast is Prema Thongdok. Thank you very much, Ms. Thongdok, for joining us on this broadcast. I want to begin by asking you what really happened when you traveled to China. Could you tell us what is it that they had to tell you the moment they saw your Indian passport?
Thank you. I would like to correct that